The Late Night Alternative with Katherine Boyle on Talk Radio.
It's in the trees. It's coming.
When I was a child, running in the night, afraid of what might be, hiding in the dark, hiding in the street, and the world was full of enemies. The hounds of love are haunting. I've always been the coward, and I don't know what's good for me. Oh, here I go. It's coming for me through the trees. Oh, help me, someone, help me, please. Take my shoes off and throw them in the lake, and I'll be 2 steps on the water. I found a fox, caught my dogs. You let me take him in my hands. His little heart, it beats so fast, and I'm ashamed of running away. You're nothing real, I just can't deal with this. I'm still afraid to be there. Warm your arms of love. Feel your arms surround me. I've always been a coward. I never know what's good for me. Oh, here I go. Don't let me go. Hold me down. It's coming for me through the trees. Oh, help me, darling, help me, please. Take my shoes off and throw them in the lake, and I'll be 2 steps on the water. I don't know what's good for me. I don't know what's good for me. I need la 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 la, yeah, yo, love. Take your shoes off and throw them in the lake. Do you know what I really need? Do you know what I really need? Yeah.
Oh, yes, that'll do, won't it? 03444991000. But don't phone me if you don't like Kate Bush, because I will not be wanting to have a conversation with you. I think it's a fine thing to get someone who is that brilliant, and if you don't, then I fear for you, I really do. Let's have a quick word with Mark. Hello, Mark.
Good evening.
Are you all right?
How are you?
I'm all right.
I'm good. I just finished my shift.
Have you?
Yeah.
You sound a bit.
No,
You sound a bit
15 hours.
floppy, Mark. You're knackered.
A little bit, but it's worth it in the long run to
course
see
it
what
is.
we do for people.
Of course it is. Mark, in case anyone's new to the show or miss Mark's phone calls, Mark, you're a carer that stays over, is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to call you to say well done for this week.
Oh, thanks.
You've been amazing.
Blimey. Thanks very much. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, you have. You just what am I trying to say? You've just kind of took it by the balls, let's say. If that makes sense.
Yeah, all right. Thanks very much, Mark. I appreciate
It's
it.
all right. How's Nigel getting on?
Nigel... OK, so Nigel was supposed to go to a food bank and then yesterday he couldn't find it. So I've sent him a map. People have been trying to help him out on Twitter, and I know that he was going to go to the MP who sorted out his referral today, and his office were going to make sure he got there. So I'm hoping that we might get some good news from Nigel.
It's really frustrating hearing the way he's kind of been treated.
Yeah. Yeah, I bet it is, especially when you work within, the caring profession.
And we work with people with less needs than what he's clearly got as well, which is really frustrating.
Really?
when there's people out there like Nigel who need that support, who just, it seems, can't get that support.
Yeah, well, the thing is, he can't advocate for himself. So he's never been assessed, it would appear. He doesn't remember being assessed, and I'm told that you would remember.
Yeah, but
and
it depends, really.
Yeah, well, see, social services, apparently he's not on their books as someone who has got learning difficulties because he's not had an assessment.
Really?
Well, the guy from the council, I think he either got mixed up or there was mixed messages or something. He told me that social services had checked him out and found that he didn't have learning difficulties. And I said, "Are you sure? Are you sure?" Because 5 minutes in, and you know that he's quite confused about a lot of things and that he sees the world differently.
That we listen to on a daily basis.
I know, but bless him.
It's crazy.
So basically, the council. I was assured that social services were aware of him, but they're treating him kind of the same as they treat any 60+.
Uh-huh.
And we know that he needs more than that.
So that's the problem as well, when they live at home with the parents for all them many years, and then all of a sudden they disappear.
Mm.
They just can't get lost in the system, I suppose.
Yeah, I've heard that before. They get really looked after by their families, and the families don't ask for help during that time, and so they're not on the radar. But,
no, it's a shame because he seems really nice.
Yeah, I mean, and he's vulnerable. So thankfully, the MP stepped up and she's sorted out a referral to a food bank.
She's been good.
Yeah, and she's also sorted out a local charity who are going to advocate for him when it comes to his financial affairs, and hopefully they can sort that out, because that's a worry. That.
Yeah. Ian's been really good though with that stuff. What he's done with him.
Yeah. Well, you can't...
He didn't even think twice. He just did it while he was talking the second time, which was amazing.
Well, you would though, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I suppose.
You can't... I think you can't have a conversation with someone... And we talk to Nigel a lot, and we've been speaking... We've got a relationship that's built up over years, and although we don't really know each other, when someone is in that amount of trouble, you can't just go, well, thanks very much for the fun times, bye-bye.
Uh-huh. Oh, just to let you know, that relationship that I got into...
Oh, yeah.
Ended.
Oh, no, Mark. What happened, if you don't mind me asking?
Basically, the lad had autism.
Right.
And people with... Now, that's not why I still... People really struggle to show him.
Right.
Relationship with emotions is a very hard relationship.
Oh, you're breaking up. Go back to where you were. I'm on tenterhooks. Flipping it. They've broken up. He's broken up. We're all breaking up. 03444991000 if you want to give me a ring tonight. We can talk about all sorts, as you heard. I mean, Mark started us off there. Just give me a call. You can do that. Thanks very much to the person whose phone number ends 4975. Glad you're enjoying the show too. They're not. They're being horrible. We've got loads to talk about. I'm about to... Hang on. Here's Mark back. Hey, Mark.
Hi, I don't know what happened. You just went beep, beep, beep.
Yeah, I know you did. You broke up, then you went beep, beep, beep.
Oh, I do apologise.
I know, it's all right. I can hear you now. So go on. What happened? This lad had autism.
Yeah, and it just got a bit difficult because people with autism don't tend to show emotion or don't kind of tend to show how they're feeling. So I kind of got into my head that he just wasn't interested. And then it all just kind of went downhill.
Oh, blimey.
Oh, well, never mind.
Are you all right, though?
Yeah, I'm really good. I'm concentrating on the work. There's a promotion coming up, so I'm concentrating on trying to get that.
All right, good. Well...
So that's really good. But, yeah, all I called up to say is you've done amazing this week, and Ian seems to be having a really good time off.
He is having a really good time off. He's absolutely shattered, though, so I know for a fact he went to bed early today.
Yeah, I follow you both on Twitter. That thing that you posted earlier about... that bear, I don't know if it's bear walking.
Which one?
A sassy walk.
Oh, right, yeah.
Cartoon. And I did tweet back to you, I said, is that the way you walk into the studio?
Natch. Every single time. And then I crawl out by the end. Anyway, Mark.
Thank you, Catherine.
I wish you better luck with your love life.
Thanks.
But, boys, who needs them?
I don't know. Maybe I should just try and turn straight, as people think.
03444991000. Take care, Mark. If you want to give me a ring, like I say, you can do that. It's absolutely no problem. Tomorrow, I've got to be up early because I'm taking my eldest daughter to school with a suitcase and packing her off for 10 days. And I'm fine about it. It's fine. Yeah, it's fine. She's going abroad. It's fine. I'll just have one child in the house and it will be fine. And she's 10 and that's a perfect age to not be going to bed in a little top bunk and cuddling up to her toy and being abroad and being on her own. It's fine. But just in case, I have written her a letter, which is normal, isn't it? I've written her a letter to put in her suitcase when I get in tonight. And I've been really cool. I've played it so cool. She will never know that I'm gutted. She will never know. My darling, sweet angel baby girl. By the time you read this, you'll be far away, having had a little cry on the coach because you're going to miss your darling mum so very much. But then you'll find your DS and your sweets, and it will be all mum who. Good. I want you to have a wonderful time, experience new things, try food that looks horrible, and feel the wind in your hair as you whoosh down snowy mountains, assuming, of course, that the wind can find its way through all the knots, because I know very well you won't brush that barnet the whole time you're away. It doesn't really matter. The point is, the world is at your feet, and your feet are going to be going very fast in those skis. She's going skiing, which sounds like she's a posh kid. She's not a posh kid. We just saved up. Yeah, so your feet are going to be going very fast in those skis once you learn to stay upright, and it's going to be brilliant. There are, however, some rules I wish you to obey while you're away, so please take a look at them now and make me a solemn promise. 1. I have sent you away with a full set of working limbs. Please return them to me in the same state. 2. You have enough clean pants and socks to wear a fresh pair every day. Please do so. Your roommates can thank me later. 3. The mountains are the white pointy things. The ends of the mountains are see-through. Stay on the white pointy things. 4. Take lots of pictures, but don't worry if you don't capture everything. Just bring me back some stories. 5. No tattoos. Oh, and have fun. Be kind and don't get arrested. Seriously, Dad and I will miss you terribly and will do our best to stop your sister turning your room into a nightclub. But no promises. We love you very much. Mum. That's going in her suitcase. That's fine, isn't it? I sounded cool. I sounded like I wasn't bothered. Be fine. You'll be absolutely fine. Hi, Amy.
Hi, yeah, you alright?
Yeah, I'm fine. Not weepy at all.
Oh, bless you.
It will be fine. I say that to myself an awful lot, especially when it comes to children. Anyway, Amy, I hear you've got work thoughts.
Yeah, just after a bit of advice, really.
Go on.
Just, obviously, you saw my tweet.
Mm-hmm.
I went for a role and I've applied for it 5 times and still haven't got it.
And is it the same place you work at, I take it?
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And there's always been like a mixture of feedback and a mixture of reasons, and I've worked on them and then new ones pop up.
Yeah.
So I think it's probably time to give up on that role. But I just wanted, some advice on, when you kicked back like that,
Yeah.
And it's been so long and so often.
Do you think that they're giving you a fair shout, or do you think that they're finding excuses?
They're finding excuses.
Right. And what kind of people are being sort of promoted above you?
It's been a mixture. I don't really know how to explain.
Are they people who you think do something different from you? Are they older than you?
No, we've all been around the same age.
Right.
They're not people that I would aspire to be, which is what I think. As you progress within a business, you should be someone that people aspire to.
Yeah.
And I've never sort of ever had that.
All right. Is it more of a management-y type thing then?
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Well, I think you go in, and here's the deal. I feel like you've already got one foot out the door if they mess you around again. Is that where you are in your head?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So go in and see what they're going to do for you.
Okay.
And say, I've been working here for a long time. Give them reasons why you would be brilliant for it, of course. I mean, standard. You've done this, how many times? 5 times you've gone for this?
Yeah.
And say, really, it's a matter of, this is the 6th time I've offered myself for this role. I feel like I'd be brilliant for it, blah, because of this. And, I think I'm a credit to whatever organisation it is, and go in with that. Here's what Ian and I have learned to do, and how we got this job here. We came in and we kind of pretended to be people who were great at interviews. So rather than being kind of modest and stuff, lay it out there. Talk about yourself the way your friend would talk about you.
Okay.
Because my tendency would be to not want to come across as big-headed. But you've got, 2 minutes to make a good impression, they say. Probably less than that, I would imagine. Go in there like, finally I'm here, guys. Without being too like an apprentice candidate, like I'm a show pony in a field of tiny ones. Well, that kind of thing. You don't come up with any of that crap. Don't be someone that you're completely not. But just go in knowing that you're good enough.
Okay. And
have in the back of your mind, do you know what? If this doesn't work this time, I've got plan B. And that self-assurance should make you feel a little bit better about it.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's true. Thank you.
But know that those people that got it before you were no better than you. So.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So what's the deal there?
Yeah, true. It's right.
And if you don't get it, do you really want to work for people who would mess you about to that extent? There's that thing as well.
Yeah, that's true.
So when is your interview?
Well, it's been and happened.
All right.
So it was the 5th time, and then it was a no.
Right. And it's already been no already?
Yeah.
Oh, so that's it? You haven't got another one?
No.
Oh, I completely misunderstood. Oh. All right. So ask them exactly what happened, because you deserve to know where you've gone wrong.
Mm.
And I think, maybe it's time for plan B now.
Okay.
Because what more can you do? If they're determined not to let you move up, then what's the point?
Yeah, you're right.
Screw those guys.
Thank you, lovely.
Well, I'm sorry I didn't get to you before the interview.
Oh, no.
Although it sounds like they don't know what they've got, so...
Oh, bless your heart.
Never mind. Well, listen, Amy, let me know how you get on, won't you?
Yeah, no, I will. Thanks, Kath.
Take care. 03444991000. Give me a shout if you want to talk about anything, as you've heard there. We'll cover whatever. And I'm fine about tomorrow morning. I'm absolutely fine.
Experience the unconventional, the unpredictable, and the completely unorthodox. The Late Night Alternative with Katherine Boyle on Talk Radio.
That story at the end of the news bulletin, though, is still, is it not echoing around your mind, especially if you've ever used Airbnb? Because I kind of swear by them. When we go away to do rabbit holes and it's too far to come back, rather than... You can spend the same money that you would on a hotel and you get a house, right? And why wouldn't you want that? Well, apparently because they might rig up a camera and live stream you. This story, this is from The Independent, and it gives a little bit more detail to what was in the excellent news bulletin at the top of the hour. A family staying in an Airbnb in Ireland discovered they were being live streamed by a hidden camera. The Barkers found the camera concealed in the living room after a father of 5, Andrew, tried to connect his phone to the Wi-Fi and saw a device labelled IP camera. He scanned the device's ports. I mean, who would think to do that? And found the live feed. His wife nearly told Stuff. We were watching ourselves on his mobile phone. The camera was in the lounge, positioned so it had a view of the dining and kitchen area as well. We've encountered lots of weird and wonderful things and like to think we take most in our stride, added Neely. However, this was shocking. The Barkers had checked in with their children on the 3rd of March, having paid in full for 3 nights' accommodation. It was late at night, but we decided fairly quickly we didn't feel comfortable about staying in the house, said Neely. They immediately left and checked into a nearby hotel. When the Barkers subsequently asked the Airbnb host about the camera, he refused to answer their questions first and denied the device's existence. However, when Andrew said they could see themselves on the camera, the host became flustered and hung up. He rang back later and said he'd only installed the camera to protect his asset. Neely said Airbnb's response was initially hopeless. It took weeks to hear back about the outcome of the investigation. An Airbnb spokesperson said, "We've permanently removed this bad actor from our platform. Our original handling of this incident didn't meet the high standards we set for ourselves, and we've apologised to the family and fully refunded their stay. There have been over 500 million guest arrivals in Airbnb listings to date, and negative incidents are incredibly rare." True, although I've had one. Airbnb has strict policies governing the use of cameras in listings. They're never allowed in bathrooms or bedrooms or to be hidden, and it has a zero-tolerance stance when it comes to violations. There have been several high-profile cases of holidaymakers finding hidden cameras in Airbnb properties in recent years. Dougie Hamilton was on holiday with his girlfriend in Toronto, Canada in 2018 and found one hidden in a digital clock. Flippin' heck. And one Scottish holidaymaker told the Daily Record, "We were only in place for 20 minutes when I noticed the clock. There was something in my head that made me feel uneasy. I took the charger out of it and saw there was a lithium battery in the back." At this, because I would never... Who would think to do this? I slid the front facing off the clock and you could see there actually was a camera. The hidden camera was facing into the living and open-plan bedroom, so it could see everything. We don't know if the owner had been watching. It just felt really creepy and we didn't want to stay. Now, I get it, right? If you hire your house out, you don't know who's going to be staying there. There is an element of trust involved, and there are horror stories of people going and like hiring Airbnbs and having brothels there that move around towns, or having parties and destroying the place and then moving on. So I get why you would feel insecure about it, but you can't be filming people. You know, if they're supposed to feel at home, they should be able to walk around Starkers without thinking that you're going to be getting an eyeful, frankly. Not that that's what I do in Airbnbs, but I should be allowed to. 03444991000. Hey, Paul.
Hello.
Hello.
Ah, Catherine. Young Catherine, from what I can tell. Catherine, Kate of Kate Hall. How have you been, darling?
I'm fine, thank you. Which Paul is this?
This is Paul Innocent.
Of course it is. How are you doing, Paul Innocent?
I'm not bad, darling. How are you? How have you been?
Not bad at all. Long time no speak. How's the acting going?
Well, it's still, I know that virtue to be a new Brutus. Shakespeare's still at the top of the agenda.
Excellent.
Apart from that, still having to do the 9 to 5 grind. As they say. But the part, you know, I'm creeping along slowly but surely, getting there. Still working on an American screenplay, 2-hour feature film, hoping to get that released sometime in the next 2 years. But anyway, how's Ian? I think he's not there.
He's not here. He's gone away with his boys for a week, and
Okay.
I think he's probably listening. So, Ian, how are you? Oh, he says it's none of your business. But he's having.
Hey, Ian, you're all right.
I know.
You're all right, son.
I know for a fact he's having. I know for a fact he's having a good time, and obviously missing you like crazy, Paul Innocent.
Oh, I've missed him. My friend Sleep John B said to me, "Get back on the radio. They're missing you, Paul." So I thought to myself, tonight's tonight. And that was it, really. So I've made them wait long enough.
Well, thank you for checking in. Thank you for checking in.
I will say, before we leave, I was quite intrigued by the previous interview about... It's very sad that she had the job, the interview before you managed to speak to her.
Yeah, because it does feel crappy having gone for it 4 times before, right? So she's been the 5th time and been turned down again.
I think that's awful. I mean, you know how I see it when it comes to audition? It's their loss.
Yeah.
It's not her loss, it's their loss. All right? So if she's listening, darling, it's their loss. You go for another job and say, screw you.
Well, exactly. Right? I think 5 times is more than enough, don't you?
I think it's well over. I think after the second option, they say 3 times lucky. But the other 2 are just no. You know, it's ridiculous.
Move along. They don't know what they've got.
No matter what they've got, no matter what they're offering.
Yeah.
It's not worth her losing that amount of dignity. She's a lovely girl by the sounds of it, you know, and I'm sorry to hear it went south, but, you know, it's 1 out of a billion opportunities, and it doesn't matter. It's infinitesimal.
This is right, and I think your advice is advice that's been well earned over the years, because obviously as an actor, you've had your fair share of rejections.
Oh, you get it all the time, and you just have to say, well, it's your loss, mate. You know, you're looking for somebody with a different chisel, the feature based on what I forgot. I understand that, but there's a bigger job round the corner. It's going to be a hell of a lot better for me, a hell of a lot better in quality, financially, and all sorts of other things which are going to be great for me. So it's all the part of fate, you see.
Sound advice. Thanks, Paul.
Yeah. All right, kid. Tell Ian I'll send him my love, and I'll check in with you in a couple of weeks' time again.
Brilliant. Right? Thanks very much, Paul. Paul Innocent there. He's an actor, can you tell? Amy, I hope you were listening, because that was some brilliant advice there. Hello, Steve McEwen.
Hello there, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Now, Steve has been tweeting me about something really interesting that you're up to. It's happening tomorrow, is that right?
I'm up at probably 5 a.m. tomorrow morning after driving 2 hours back from the clinic to home.
Okay.
It starts very early. We're starting from Eastbourne Pier. We're making our way all the way to Southampton. over 4 days.
And this is a walk in aid of young minds, is that right?
Young minds, yes, young people. Partly because I believe this is where the most of the problems begin. They develop, and naturally, I'm helping adults through it as well. So I'm not even sure who I'm going to get. That's going to be a...
Now, you're talking about who you're going to get, because you're not just walking, because people will be listening and going, oh, you know, people phone up all the time trying to get sponsorship for their walks and stuff.
Of course, no.
But you're doing something a bit different.
Yes, I'm actually offering free therapy all the way. And my colleagues that are joining me are going to be offering informal therapy. So in other words, informal therapy, just talking to your friends and, you know, your local barber down the road. And obviously it's an aid of getting people to reduce the stigma that's associated to mental health and get people talking.
Okay.
It's a long one.
So what's the score? They'll be walking with you and you do, a therapist's hour, which is, I believe, about 50 minutes?
Do you know what? You're absolutely right. It's about 50 minutes, but not my 50 minutes. I can be a lot longer than that. Usually I'm late. Usually it goes on, like today, I was absolutely late. I'm lucky I had an extra half an hour between to catch up.
Uh-huh.
But no, do you know what? Whoever turns up, they can walk with me for as long as their little legs will take them.
Mm-hmm.
Thankfully, I've sort of trained. You know, I do lots of deadlifts to try and cope. I'm worried about my hips, but at least I'm not going to turn in any corners just walking in a straight line. So I should be all right. I'm hopefully going to make it at the end.
How will they be able to spot you, Steve? Because I'm imagining there'll be some walkers who risk being given quite a lot of information they've not asked for if we're not careful.
Yeah, do you know what? I'm hoping for a pilgrimage, so you should see us with a very long line. We'll be wearing yellow T-shirts. There's going to be 4 of us starting. There was going to be a few more, but some people have sort of chickened out, I think.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the thought of walking all that way. And having people come up that, you know, some of them, it's going to be quite tough because not everybody is equipped to be able to give sort of information and deal with. I mean, we've had conversations about it.
Yeah.
You know, it's quite hard dealing with a lot of that emotional tension that you almost pick up as you're speaking to people. And all that transference and dealing with emotion, it's quite tough. I'm looking forward to it, though. I mean, this is what I do.
Yeah. How long have you been a therapist, Steve?
About 16 years.
Blimey, really?
Yeah, a long time. Yeah, too long in some respects. But I've gone from doing standardised sort of counselling to sort of training in everything. I get bored quite easily, so I've studied NLP. I've done psychoanalysis. That's my bag.
Right.
I do hypnosis. I think that all needs to be on the NHS. I think they provide, you know, the general problems in society now. I think they're trying to deal with, like trying to paint the Golden Bridge with a toothbrush.
Yeah.
Then they're never going to solve the problem with the type of therapy they're offering at the moment because everybody's different. Everybody needs a different approach.
Yeah, I was listening to Scroobius Pip's, one of his latest podcasts is an interview with Johan Hari, who was in the news last year because the shortcut to what he was talking about in his book, it was called Lost Connections, was, antidepressants don't work. That's not what he's saying at all. He was saying that there's an over-reliance on the biological explanation for depression, and actually there are so many other factors in it. And instead of asking what's wrong with you, really people should be asking what happened to you.
Of course, yeah. I mean, you've got to look at development and, you know, the things that we experienced in our cognition early on are the things that we create a filter through which we look at the rest of our life. And all we ever do is try and, you know, validate those experiences by anticipating in line with that. And that's what people are doing nowadays. And I think, you know, it will get worse. So it's partly to do with the internet. It's partly to do with social media.
Yeah.
Kids aren't being able to experience in the way that possibly you and I would have. You know, we're not talking a huge, many decades.
Mm-hmm.
You're talking like 20 years. You know, kids can't climb trees anymore. You know, kids don't go up on to local town centre or buy a bus. You know, I did that at the age of 10.
Yeah.
Nowadays, that would be seen as child neglect, or at least my mum would report it to the DSS. You know,
Yeah.
sort of. But nowadays, there's so much fear, and fear stops kids sort of developing cognition.
Right. The stat that they gave was if you were a prisoner in a high security prison, you're entitled to 70 minutes fresh air every day, and kids aren't getting that.
Of course they're not. They're spending more time either on their phones or literally in their bedrooms playing the games.
Yeah.
I remember when I was younger, I used to get bored. I'd look out the window and wondering, you know, if I could go out.
The worst thing in the summer is if you got sent to bed early and you can hear all the other kids out on their bikes. But,
it's like 8 o'clock and it's light.
But we're sounding like old farts now because things have moved on. But at the same time, playing a computer game where you're having adventures isn't the same as actually having an adventure, is it?
Of course, no, of course not. The cognition is something that is so important because it requires knowledge through thinking. And that essentially, if that's being underdeveloped, you're getting someone that will have a cognitive disorder.
Right.
It's all about anticipation. You anticipate certain circumstances, and that builds up our cognition. So therefore, it becomes almost like a wiring system. We know that certain scenarios will produce certain feelings, but a lot of kids nowadays, I'm talking 20-year-olds that are just leaving university and then thrown out in the big bad world, and some grumpy old boss is shouting at them and they're feeling upset.
Right, because they've never been spoken to like that before.
Yeah, nowadays, it will change eventually, but I think there's a lot of investment that's needed, and there's a lot more to be done within society for that to change. It's just really unfortunate right now in the system.
Are people seeking out therapy more? Because it used to be a very American idea.
Yeah, I think people are. I think, the more we, put it out there, the more people are going to want therapy. And unfortunately, there will be people jumping on board that will not necessarily be as bad as, as someone else. There are people that don't need it, and there's some people that really do need it. And because the people that really do need it are the ones that then, are being left aside. And I think the problem is with the systems, they only offer 6 sessions, and it's CBT. And once you've done with your 6 sessions, that's it. You've got to find another route. And the problem is that the success rate is only 45% of what they're seeing, of the 15% of the population that their target was.
You get 6 sessions and 45, and it's helping 45%, which is amazing.
45%, but that's 45 of 15% of their target, 15% target.
Right.
So there's another 85% of people that have got problems that are not being seen, and over half of those people, under half of those 15%, are actually getting success.
Right.
That, to me, if I was running at a 45% success rate, I wouldn't be in business.
No. And the other thing is that it means that people who can't afford to go private and to sort their own care out are just being left to flounder.
They are. Another 6 sessions. You have 6 sessions, and if you're bad enough, you might get to see a psychiatrist that will just stick you on drugs.
God.
That's the state we're in. And do you know what? I see people that can afford to see me. I work in quite an affluent area, but, there's some people that can barely afford it. And do you know what? I see some people for free. I don't want to advertise that, but occasionally I do, because it is a very serious case. And sometimes it takes that little bit of effort. And this is why I'm doing this walk, because I want to get out there and show that, things can be done. All right, I'm walking. There's only so much I can do. There's the skills that I can't, get people in a certain perspective to be able to help them. But do you know what? I'm lending an ear, and it's about getting people to understand that, you can talk. You need to talk, because otherwise, too much exposure to those feelings will do you not just mental damage, but physical damage.
Yeah, it's fascinating stuff. So remind us exactly where you'll be, and I'll let you plug your GoFundMe as well.
Yeah. So at 9 o'clock I'll be at Eastbourne tomorrow. We will probably arrive at Brighton following day, so we'll sleep over. We get up at 9 o'clock, walk from Brighton Pier all the way to Littlehampton, sleep over the night, get up in the morning at 9 o'clock again from Littlehampton Pier all the way to Havant, sleep the night, get up, and we'll be walking from Havant town centre all the way to Southampton. So it's going to be a right old trek. It really is, and to be, like I said, I don't know what I'm going to get. We're walking through some real horrible hotspots.
Yeah,
I know that Ian Lee's in Southampton somewhere. Peppa Pig World. I saw a video of him yesterday.
He was in Peppa Pig World. He might need some therapy after that, to be honest.
Tell him to pop along. I'll sort him out.
Well, actually, we're going to be in Brighton on Saturday, but I don't know whether our hours will coincide. We'll see.
Whereabouts are you Saturday night? Because I've got John Gooden coming along with me, and Phil Berman. John Gooden's the UFC MMA commentator presenter.
Oh wow!
So we could probably meet you up. My mum and dad are coming as well. They're our support vehicle.
Saturday night we're going to be doing a podcast at the Carolina Brunswick pub in Brighton.
Carolina
Brunswick.
Will you put that on your tweet?
Yeah.
And then I'll maybe we'll head along.
All right.
We'll be able to get in.
Or you can give
get
us
a name on the door.
You can give us a ring and tell us what you've been up to if you want as well.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I'll give you a ring. Maybe I'll do that tomorrow night if you're about.
Yeah,
so you're actually doing that tomorrow night? Sorry.
No, we're doing Saturday night. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I might ring in tomorrow night as well
All
and
right.
say hi. I might get John to maybe call in as well, so we can all have a chat.
And let us know how you get on. All right, that'd be groovy.
So you're still alive.
What's your GoFundMe? It's GoFundMe.com?
It is. It is GoFundMe.com / actually, I've even forgot it, you know. The hyphen walking hyphen therapist.
Beautiful.
So it's a long one, but you can find it. If you type in Steve McEwen walk, you'll probably find that a lot easier.
All right, brilliant. Well, good stuff, Steve, and I wish you all the luck in the world with it.
Thank you very much, and all the best for your show tonight.
Yeah, I'll speak to you later. Thanks very much, Steve.
No problems. Thanks very much. Cheers.
Steve McEwen. Bit of free therapy. You'll have to walk for it, but you won't be paying for it. 0344 499 1000 if you want to give me a ring. I'm going to speak to Paul after the break, and then it could be you.
The Late Night Alternative with Katherine Boyle. Speech radio with a difference.
Talk Radio.
You know when someone writes something nice about you on Twitter and everyone is generally cool about it, but one person feels like they've got to be, quote unquote, honest and at you in it as well? That, nice. Using the words sidekick. Beautiful. Thanks very much, guys. Hello, Paul.
Hello.
Are you all right?
Not too bad. I'm the chap whose tapes it was that was being put on television on the phone.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure I follow you, Paul.
You had all those tapes on about it that I was looking on the computer.
No.
That I was playing on the computer. Yeah. I'm that chap.
I'm not sure what you mean, but tell me a little bit more.
Tell you a little bit more.
Yeah. What tapes were you playing on the computer?
No, that was on your devices. Yeah. Yeah.
I think you might be mixing me up with someone else.
No.
What was on the tapes? Tell me.
I mean, for example, you said your eyes were burning when you were looking at that tape.
What?
Yeah.
What tape?
On your computer, the screen you must have been watching to see the tapes. Yeah. Mm. You commented that when you looked at the screen that your eyes were burning.
What was on the tape, Paul?
I think it was a chap talking. I can't remember.
I'm watching it.
Yeah.
I'm watching a person talking.
Yeah, about something. I don't know what he was talking. I can't remember. It's years ago. That is.
Right.
You commented that he was the other. I'm getting mixed up now with names.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, what did you want to say tonight, Paul?
You know the book. There's a book. It also was on the first program as well. That was on the earlier program before this came on. What is it? I'm a patient. I'm a resident here.
Okay.
Where I am, where I live now.
Right.
Yeah.
And you rang me up to say what, Paul?
To say what? Well, sorry that you had to go through all that. Listening to me all those tapes.
I don't.
Yeah.
Paul, you've got nothing to apologise for because I don't really remember it. But I appreciate you calling.
No.
And honestly, don't worry about it.
Yeah, I did appear once in an attempt to commanded the programme with the other chap on. What's the other chap's name?
That usually works on this programme?
who's normally on with you.
Yeah, Ian.
Ian, yeah. I do. In the past, what happened, I rang up Ian, and he, during the election, well, not election, what was going on, and he moved me. This was when I first moved into this place where I live now. He sent me off. He cut me off.
Well, everyone gets cut off in the end because we haven't got a fader, I'm afraid.
Well, no, I didn't mean that. What I meant is it was just talking about everything was all right with the shopping and that everything was going well with that. But he said, when he said, I bet you wish it was more, I said, no, you know. I don't think I should have. I think now that perhaps I should have said, yeah. You weren't getting. But I was telling him the events of my day.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
This is it.
Well, listen, you've got nothing to worry about. Everything is good. And, and so thanks for ringing. But honestly, don't worry about it.
Okay.
All right.
Oh, yeah, all that stuff, do they get forwarded back onto me, to where I live?
What's that?
Pardon?
What
all the tapes and everything.
There aren't any tapes, Paul.
When I moved here, a lot of computers got taken from there. From where I lived, by people who were there and stolen off me.
Oh dear, I'm sorry to hear that.
That's very bad, isn't it?
It is. It is. But you're all right now, right, Paul?
Well, yeah, but I like them back.
Yeah, of course you would. All right.
Yeah.
Well, good luck with that. Thank you, Paul.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Good night. I really don't know. Bless Paul. If you want to give me a ring, 0344 499 1000. We really can talk about anything. Okay. Joe Biden, right? Someone I always kind of quite admired. He seemed like a nice fella. It's been a really weird story going on if you look on Twitter, it's been raging on there, that apparently Joe Biden, in kind of inappropriate space invasions, inappropriate touching by Joe Biden. One woman saying that she was in the course of working alongside him, he'd smelt her hair and kissed her neck, which I think is a little bit more than just space invasion. But anyway, Joe Biden has come back with, well, I think what's supposed to be an apology, but I just want to play it to you now and get your impression of it, because it's supposed to be an apology, but it's one of those, it's a non-apology.
Folks, in the coming month, I expect to be talking to you about a whole lot of issues, and I'll always be direct with you. But today I want to talk about gestures of support and encouragement that I've made to women and some men that have made them uncomfortable. And I always tried to be, in my career, I've always tried to make a human connection. That's my responsibility, I think. I shake hands, I hug people, I grab men and women by the shoulders and say, you can do this. And whether they're women, men, young, old, it's the way I've always been. It's the way I've tried to show I care about them and I'm listening. And over the years, knowing what I've been through, the things that I've faced, I've found that scores, if not hundreds of people have come up to me and reached out for solace and comfort, something, anything that may help them get through the tragedy they're going through. And so it's just who I am. And I've never thought of politics as cold and antiseptic. I've always thought it about connecting with people. As I said, shaking hands, hands on the shoulder, a hug, encouragement. And now it's all about taking selfies together. Social norms have begun to change. They've shifted. And the boundaries of protecting personal space have been reset. And I get it. I hear what they're saying. I understand it. And I'll be much more mindful. That's my responsibility, and I'll meet it. But I'll always believe governing, quite frankly, life for that matter, is about connecting with people. That won't change, but I will be more mindful and respectful of people's personal space. And that's a good thing. That's a good thing. I've worked my whole life to empower women. I've worked my whole life to prevent abuse. I've written, and so the idea that I can't adjust to the fact that personal space is important, more important than it's ever been, is just not thinkable. I will.
Thanks, Joe. Thanks for working to empower us, and sorry that your encouragement was not something we felt comfortable with. Oh, hang on a minute. Why are we apologising? 0344 499 1000.
The Late Night Alternative with Katherine Boyle on Talk Radio.
Seen her dressed in blue. See the sky in front of you. And her face is like a sail, spoken white, so fair and pale. Have you seen a lady blue? She comes in colors everywhere. She combs her hair. She's like a rainbow. Coming colors in the air. She comes in She's like a
Now, I'm not usually bothered about the Rolling Stones, but I think that's a belter, don't you? All right, you can pack that in. 0344 499 1000. I'm Katherine Boyle. I'm standing in for Iain Lee. He'll be back as usual on Monday. And in the meantime, we can talk about whatever you want. As usual, don't worry about that. 0344 499 1000 is the number. Now, before the news, we started talking about this Joe Biden story. And I find it really fascinating that someone can get to the age of 76 and then give an apology like that, all kind of woke, and I've realised that things have changed. Without really realising that things have changed until you're 76. Have you ever hugged someone that doesn't want to be hugged? You can tell, right? If you're kissing someone that works for you in a junior capacity and they're not kissing you back, you know that they don't want it, right? So how can you get to that point in your life where you have to make a public statement like that? Which, by the way, I don't think was an apology. It was kind of, oh, I see things have changed, but I'm someone who does this. And almost like his positive actions have been misunderstood and actually people should be grateful for them. Maybe I'm over-egging this. Maybe I am. Let's have another listen to it. Because it seems like his tone and everything seem kind of conciliatory. But it's not, is it? Here you go. Oh, hang on. Aretha's getting involved now. Shush. Aretha, this is not the time or place, although I hate to say shush to Aretha. Right, here we go.
In the coming month, I expect to be talking to you about a whole lot of issues, and I'll always be direct with you. But today I want to talk about gestures of support and encouragement that I've made to women and some men that have made them uncomfortable.
Gestures of support and encouragement, which, according to the allegations, include kissing you on the neck.
And I always tried to be, in my career, I've always tried to make a human connection. That's my responsibility, I think. I shake hands, I hug people, I grab men and women by the shoulders and say, you can do this. And,
isn't that nice of him?
And whether they're women, men, young, old, it's the way I've always been. It's the way I've tried to show I care about them and I'm listening. And over the years, knowing what I've been through, the things that I've faced, I've found that scores, if not hundreds of people have come up to me and reached out for solace and comfort, something, anything that may help them get through the tragedy they're going through. And so it's just who I am. And I've never thought of politics as cold and antiseptic. I've always thought it about connecting with people. As I said, shaking hands, hands on the shoulder, a hug, encouragement. And now it's all about taking selfies together. Social norms have begun to change. They've shifted. And the boundaries of protecting personal space have been reset.
Have they, or have women just started saying, do you know what, I don't like that?
I get it.
Do you?
I hear what they're saying. I understand it. And I'll be much more mindful. That's my responsibility. And I'll meet it. But I'll always believe governing, quite frankly, life for that matter, is about connecting with people. That won't change. But I will be more mindful and respectful of people's personal space.
Okay.
And that's a good thing.
Yep.
That's a good thing. I've worked my whole life to empower women. I've worked my whole life to prevent abuse. I've written, and so the idea that I can adjust to the fact that personal space is important, more important than it's ever been, is just not thinkable. I will.
Here's what I think, right? He's 76 and he, by his own admission, has been a touchy, tactile sort of person for his whole political career. People haven't felt able to say anything to him, although this is three women apparently who've spoken to the Washington Post on Wednesday, bringing to 7 the number of women who've publicly voiced their objections to physical behaviour by Biden as he weighs a presidential bid. Vile Conant-Yunt says that she was a White House intern in 2013 when Biden was vice president under the then President Barack Obama. She was exiting the basement of the West Wing when she was asked to step aside to make way for Biden, who came over to greet her, shook her hand. He then put his hand on the back of my head and pressed his forehead to my forehead while talking to me. I was so shocked that it was hard to focus on what he was saying. I remember he told me I was a pretty girl. The former intern said she was uncomfortable and embarrassed by Biden's comments about her appearance, even though it was intended as a compliment, and she believed his intentions are good, right? I do not consider my experience to have been sexual assault or harassment, she said, but it was the kind of inappropriate behaviour that makes many women feel uncomfortable and unequal in the workplace. And then they talk about the video. Sophie Karasek said she met Biden after the Oscars in 2016, where she'd been part of a group of sexual assault survivors who appeared on stage. Biden clasped her hands and placed his forehead against hers, a scene that was photographed at the time. Karasek told the Post she felt awkward and uncomfortable. Although she appreciated Biden's support, she said in his latest video, he still didn't take ownership in the way that he needs to. The third woman, Ali Cole, said she met Biden when she was a Democratic staffer during the 2008 presidential campaign. He squeezed her shoulders and complimented her smile, and Cole said he held her for a beat too long. There's been a lack of understanding about the way that power can turn something that might seem innocuous into something that can make somebody feel uncomfortable, she said. Biden also has prominent defenders, including female political leaders who've said his physical greetings and gestures of support were well-intentioned and employed with both men and women, and touted his strong record on women's rights. Your thoughts on that? Because I'm going to lay my cards on the table. I've worked in an environment where someone was overly tactile and a space invader, did nothing I could report or would have reported. I shrugged it off. People laughed about it because he would kind of come in and isolate me in a way by sort of putting his chair too close to mine. He'd put his back to everyone else. It would be something that it was obvious to everyone else, and they thought it was funny because he was a much older person and I was clearly squirming. Why didn't I say anything? The same reason a lot of these women didn't raise it before, probably, because you're hoping the moment will pass and you kind of do this mental maths. Is it worth causing a fuss? Does he mean it? Probably not. But then they get to the age of 76 and they've been doing this the whole time, and someone pulls the plug on it and they say that they never realised what they were doing was out of order. 0344 499 1000. You kind of know, though, when you're hugging someone that they don't like it. I mean, Matt, what do you think about this one?
Yeah, it's a weird one, isn't it? I mean, obviously, as a bloke, I've got no deep insight into how it feels to be on the receiving end of this kind of thing.
Uh-huh.
I know that following the whole Brett Kavanaugh thing, I'm really sorry, I can't remember the name of the woman that was accusing him of what seemed to be very credible allegations that he and his friends had assaulted her.
Yeah.
And yet she was just completely dismissed, and he was appointed to the Supreme Court anyway.
And also, don't you think it's interesting, Dr. Christine Blasey Ford being accused of looking for publicity and no one can remember her name now it's over?
I know, it's crazy, isn't it? And I hope that's not just... I hope that is just my ageing brain and not the fact that she's already been cast aside. The thing with Biden is, and it's slightly devil's advocate here, is that all these initial allegations of him being too touchy-feely kind of started surfacing around the time that all the allegations coming out against Trump when he was still a candidate.
Right.
And they started, the Republican, supporters started posting still photos taken from videos of him in various situations in the White House, greeting people and apparently, holding them up close to him and sniffing their hair. And this big allegation that he was a hair sniffer.
Yeah, one woman saying he sniffed her hair and kissed her neck. Now, kissing someone's neck is very intimate, isn't it?
Yeah, it's wrong. It's wrong. And if he did do that, and there's no reason to doubt he did, then, yeah, he's absolutely wrong to have done that. And I think you're right. I think that there is a sense that he's an old bloke who's gone through his life without ever being pulled up on this stuff, and he's suddenly realised, hang on, I can't get away with it anymore. And he wasn't, I mean, it's horrible to say sufficiently contrite,
right,
given, this kind of this sense that everyone's got to be sorry for everything these days. But, I think he did.
It was the idea that things have changed. I don't think things have changed. I think he's just been made aware of his behaviour.
No, I think that there's a much greater awareness amongst the public as a whole that this stuff is real.
Mm-hmm.
I think until fairly recently, until the last few years, there's always been an underlying sense. And I think most people have kind of said that, have believed it, but there's been this underlying kind of, I don't know how to put it, there's this current of steering people away from believing these allegations are real, and that it's hysterical women and blah, blah, blah.
Here's the thing. I think women have been saying it for a long time, but now there is kind of a movement whereby women are banding together.
Yeah, I think so. And I mean, that's obviously a power for good. And absolutely, that should continue. I just worry that people like Joe Biden, who I personally believe, deep down, putting his behaviour around females aside, if you can, is a very decent bloke and is a very honest politician. There is an element of me as well, because I don't like Trump. I don't believe he is a trustworthy, moral person, and I don't like the idea that he can post the video that he posted today on Twitter, basically taking the mickey out of Biden.
Oh, yeah, I mean, he needs to sit down throwing stones.
Sexual assault against him, and he's also been accused of raping his first wife.
Exactly.
You kind of think, he muddies the waters. But it's important that we don't dismiss allegations against other people because they're not Trump.
Yeah. Because here's the thing, they could all be true. They could all be true. Yeah, and it could also be true, like you say, that otherwise he's a stand-up guy and maybe he's just all the way through his life behaved in a certain way and no one's pulled him up about it before.
The key thing is that I don't think he's a pervert. I don't think he's done anything for sexual gratification. I could be wrong about that, but my personal belief is that he hasn't. My personal belief is that Trump and others, including people in the Republican Party, I think for some reason Al Franken springs to mind, although there is something nagging at me telling me that was set up as well, but it probably wasn't. But people like Trump and others of his ilk who have surrounded themselves with sexual predators and who are, by all accounts, although it has to be stated that it's an allegation and not proven, are sexual predators of the sort that treat women as objects and as targets. And if they can be seen to almost get away with the behaviour that they've committed in the past because this guy now touched a woman's shoulder or did something inappropriate, I really worry that it takes the focus off the real danger and the real issue, that there are still people, normally white men, normally sort of in the older generation still. I mean, even in my generation, I'm 45, and there's absolutely men of my age who objectify women and who treat them as targets and as people to be subjugated and to be conquered.
Yeah.
And I don't think Biden is one of those. I don't think he ever has been.
No, but tell you what else, moving away from the men and their behaviour.
Yeah.
It adds to the kind of slow drip of behaviour that leads to an atmosphere whereby women don't get on the same as men professionally. For example, I know that there are congressmen in Washington who will not allow female aides to be seen out with them at social occasions and won't ride in cars with them, won't do certain things where they're one-on-one for whatever reason. And I can see why, actually, in this sort of environment where they are concerned about people smearing them for political reasons, because it's nasty at the moment. It is nasty out there, but it has to be said, nothing like that seems to have happened yet. But what it means is the male aides are Johnny on the spot the whole time. The women get held back professionally.
It's not just Congressman. Look, Mike Pence won't allow himself to be in a room with another woman unless his wife is there.
Yeah.
And that's a religious thing, and I think a lot of people use their supposed religious beliefs to kind of excuse this misogynist behaviour.
Yeah.
But I absolutely agree. And then you look at the way that people like Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez are treated by the Republican Party, that because she's a woman and she's young, she must therefore be worthless and an idiot.
Oh, exactly. She's not entitled to her opinion yet because she's not a mother. She's not old enough, but she's an incredibly impressive person who's.
Well, she's amazing. I mean, if either of my sons are as eloquent and determined and brave as she is, when they're her age, I'll happily go to my grave knowing I've done everything I possibly could to have raised them as the best people they could possibly be. But there are people that don't see that, people that see her because she's female, because she's young.
Yeah.
Mainly because she's female, I think, because if she was young and male, I don't think she'd get an eighth of the stick she gets.
Here's the thing we're also missing out. She's very attractive.
Yeah, that's true. But I don't think I think if she wasn't, she'd probably get an even worse time, because then people would be posting memes about her looking like whatever.
Yeah, let's look at young Hillary Clinton. The way people talked about her until she had a makeover, blue stocking, serious woman. She's got no sense of humour, all that sort of stuff. They don't talk about men like that.
Obama,
yeah,
because she's black. There's a lot of racists who say, well, automatically because she's female and black and therefore must be ugly, and then you get all these horrible people posting these memes of her being raised by apes in the jungle or whatever. It's vile.
Yeah.
And it is, as you say, it is a hideous situation at the moment where this sort of stuff. I know it's always been there to a certain extent. There's always been this kind of underlying current of hatefulness, but it's really come to the fore recently in the last few years, under Trump mainly, but people like Farage and Boris Johnson, who also say horrible things about people that they consider to be lesser humans.
Yeah, it's got quite playground. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. But coming back to the issue of women and not wanting to be implicated in anything and avoiding being in women's company and stuff, it's very strange to me when you look at the number of allegations that are proven to be made maliciously or falsely. They are minuscule compared to the number of allegations which are found to be true, and yet you don't find women not giving men the benefit of the doubt when it comes to working, because you just have to crack on with it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very much a weighted situation. There's no equality at all, and I don't think there will be for a long time, unfortunately. I mean, I think it's gradually, very, very slowly moving in sort of the right direction, but it's still very much seen that women, particularly in politics, but also still in business, that there is this sense that they are somehow less capable, less worthy of listening to.
Exactly. Is it so difficult to work out that if you wouldn't say it to a bloke, you shouldn't say it to a woman that you work with?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, or if you wouldn't say it to somebody to their face, you shouldn't say it in an email to somebody about somebody else, or in a tweet, or particularly in work situations where emails get sent around about the new temp or that girl who works in marketing or whatever.
Yeah.
You wouldn't say it to her face, so don't say it behind her back.
Yeah. And how would you feel if they said it about your sister or your mum or your daughter?
Yeah. And I don't know. I mean, maybe I've got no idea. I live a very sheltered existence, but maybe there's the same thing happens with attractive blokes that come to work in companies, and the girls will start emailing around. But I don't know. But even if that was the case, I don't think that it would be seen as such a big deal. Actually, I'm contradicting myself there, because it also it ought to be, everything ought to be treated as the same issue, that you're denigrating somebody on the basis of an attribute that doesn't have any bearing on their ability to do their job.
Yeah, you're reducing them to a body, basically.
Yeah, which has never happened to me because I'm fat and ugly and, it doesn't bother me. But
you sound delightful, Matt. Would you mind if I put my forehead against yours?
Just don't kiss my neck.
That is a weird one, though. I'm sorry. I can kind of bear with the rest, maybe touching someone's shoulder when you're talking, being tactile like that, but kissing someone's neck is, I've been
in situations where I've leant in to give someone a kiss on the cheek, and I might have kissed them slightly further back, like round the ear, which could be considered to be kissing their neck, and that's just because I'm awkward. But but if he did lean down and sort of nuzzle into the crook of her neck, then that is weird.
No. Anyway, Matt, was that what you rang up for?
It wasn't, actually.
Go on, then.
But I'm conscious that I'm taking up time that could be better served by other people talking.
It's only Darren. He'll hang on. He won't mind.
Okay, well, I'll keep it quick. It's a sort of a devil's advocate kind of thing. I saw something on Twitter just a little while ago about, it's quite a soppy story, that a girl had written a Mother's Day card to her mother who died last year and posted it, and then a post worker found the letter and replied as if he was her mum. And my automatic response was, why?
Yeah.
Don't do that. Don't tell kids that. The whole thing was, I'm looking down on you and watching over you for all your life. And I find that really disturbing. I find the idea that kids should be told that there's some supernatural presence watching their every single move is really worrying. And I assume that other people will feel completely differently and think I'm some sort of evil monster.
I felt a bit uncomfortable about it. I read that and I thought that's taking a little bit of a gamble, isn't it, on what the situation is at home.
Yeah, and it's taking a massive liberty by pretending to know what that girl's relationship was. I mean, obviously the girl and her mum had a loving relationship, otherwise she wouldn't have written a Mother's Day card to her dead mum.
And it seems to have gone down well, it has to be said.
It does seem to have gone down very well, which is why I was, wondering whether I should raise it or not. But I thought, well,
no, but I know what you mean. When I read it, I did think, I don't know. That does seem to be that. Like I say, it's a gamble. It's a real gamble. And
I mean, my kids are 9 and 12, and I haven't made a point of kind of going on and on about it, but they are aware that my belief is that when you're dead, you're dead. And there is no afterlife. There is nothing after this. Just live life for the now and do what you do the right thing because you want to do the right thing, not because you're worried if you don't, you'll go to hell, because there is no hell. And I'm sure that flies in the face of, of many people's beliefs. My ex-wife's partner is apparently sort of a reasonably not devout, but believes in that sort of thing. And so obviously we'll be having a different conversation around that, and I do slightly worry about being seen to be deliberately contentious rather than actually telling them what I really believe. But I really do believe that there is nothing after this, and that my dad died very young. He died 10 years ago. He was only 60. And if I thought he was looking down on me now, I'd just be like, oh God, I really hope he's judging me. He's judging me. I haven't done. My brother is a hugely successful chartered accountant, and I'm just this kind of dweeby little photographer in a flat in Manchester. And I just think I wouldn't want my kids to be thinking after I've gone that I'm looking down and going, don't do that, don't or don't touch yourself there. Or that sort of thing, It's disturbing to me. I
know what you mean. And I'm sure your dad wouldn't ever think you were just anything. But I know what you're talking about. The other thing is, right, if that kid is anything like mine, right, my youngest daughter is 7 and she's been writing to the fairies recently. And the fairies write back because I have a word with them, if you know what I mean. But that girl has just got a letter through the post from her dead mother. If she's anything like my daughter, there'll be another letter. And what if that doesn't get replied to?
Well, yeah, I hadn't even thought about that, but that's true. Yeah, that's a horrible thing, isn't it? Because then she's got to hope that she believes it, and she's hopeful that she's going to have this correspondence that suddenly stops. It's going to be a bit
be heartbreaking.
Yeah. Anyway, I just wanted to raise it as a talking point, and I'm going to go away now. But
thanks, Matt.
Thank you for putting up with me. Cheers.
Good chats. 03444991000. Darren, I'm going to come to you in a second.
Experience the unconventional, the unpredictable, and the completely unorthodox. The Late Night Alternative with Katherine Boyle on Talk Radio.
I'm going to hold the door open for Darren now and just gently stroke his back as he walks through. Hey, Darren.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm all right, thank you. Sorry about that. That was very inappropriate.
No, it's kind of like on a game show when they say, "Have you won £1 million?" We're going to tell you after the break. 'Cause that's how I feel now. Now it's been kind of like building up inside me, so I'm very nervous.
Okay, well, let it out, Darren. Let it out.
Actually, your last caller was absolutely phenomenal.
He was good, wasn't he?
He came across so many things that were so interesting, and I've never heard of a postal worker who did that.
Yeah.
And I'd actually like to, maybe because I've been listening all evening. Did you mention it earlier on? Or
no, it was in the news. I think it was in the news a couple of days ago. Are you on speaker? I know you seem quite far away. Which is cool if you're observing your personal space, but it just makes it a bit more difficult to hear. Come closer.
I will basically take it off my earphones.
Beautiful.
Sorry.
Here he comes.
A second. Anyway.
Yeah, go on. So.
No. Hello?
Hello, you're still there.
Good. Yeah, proper.
No, you're still there. Don't worry. Carry on.
Hello.
Hello.
You still there?
Yes. Are you?
Ah, good. I didn't swear.
We're all still here.
I turned my headphones off and thought yeah.
No, you're all right. So what did you want to say, Darren?
It was, the postal worker.
Yeah.
That is, that really knocked me for 6, actually, because my initial thought is that is such a nice thing to do.
Yeah.
But my second thought is, what a terrible thing to do, because you don't have a clue what their family situation is.
Mm.
And, so I don't really understand the kind of like, all the context of it.
No, I mean, and obviously it's a heartbreaking situation.
And
the little girl is delighted and her dad doesn't mind. So it's winners all round. But it might not have been like that. And
right. That was my thing. Is there a dad around?
Yeah, let me find the story. Let's have a look at it properly and to give it a fair shout. Okay, so postal worker letter. Mum, heaven. Right. Here we go. Is it this one? Oh, this is really old. Apparently it happens quite a bit.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because you got a 6-year-old daughter.
I've got 7.
7.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, here we go. So here we go. This is from The Sun. A dad told his daughter, oh, bless her, heaven has postman, after she sent her dead mum a Mother's Day card and received a surprise reply. Ella Lennon, 4, posted a handmade card to mum Jennifer, 28, for Mother's Day just 4 months ago. Oh, sorry, just 4 months after losing her to cancer. Poor little girl. In a heartwarming twist, a Royal Mail employee penned a thoughtful reply on behalf of Jennifer, telling the youngster she loves her millions and billions and trillions. Little Ella from Kilmarnock in Scotland was left lit up by the magical response from her mum. Her aunt, Linda Ross, 24, has described the moment the youngster was shown the letter and heard the touching words. Linda said, when she got the reply, Ella was so happy. She said, "Oh, thank you, Mummy, I'm going to keep this forever." Her wee mouth was open the whole time we were reading it. Cancer nurse Linda and Ella's dad, Dean, 30, read the reply away from Ella to make sure it was appropriate before showing it. OK, well, then he's a great dad.
Good parent.
And found the wording suitable to her mum's memory and character. Linda added, for her to get that reply has meant so much to us. She did ask how the letter got here, but seemed happy enough when we explained that there are postmen in heaven and it took a little bit of magic. I think it will help her grieve without even realising. It will help her process what happened. If my sister was here, she'd be loving this. She would joke she was famous. Jennifer passed away on December the 8th last year after a 4-year battle with brain tumours. The mum of one was diagnosed with the killer disease just 3 months after little Ella was born in 2014 and a year after she wed sweetheart Dean. She credited Ella for saving her life at the time and gave the youngster the nickname of her little light. Oh, bless her. So, it worked out okay and the dad was on it, which is great.
Yeah. Yeah, that was my thing. That's why I wanted to get the background to it, whether, the dad was, okay with it. Because oftentimes, dads are sometimes dismissed. But that sounds actually fantastic.
Yeah.
It really is a proper great story. And it's not a story. It's much more than that. It's about giving a child a belief that, there might be something else out there. I don't know.
Well,
I have no idea.
I guess the idea that a kid would think that a card would get to their mum suggests that there's already a belief there.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's all children need to understand is that, just strange things happen.
Yeah.
And strange things happen all your life. Serendipity, those kind of things will always happen.
Do you believe in it, or is it coincidence?
Well, whether it's coincidence or serendipity, who's to say what it is?
I suppose what defines serendipity to you is a coincidence. Maybe you're an optimist.
No, coincidence is when you basically think, oh, that could never happen to me, but it did. Serendipity is, I was thinking about that, and it actually happened. By George.
I thought serendipity was when the right thing happens at the right time for you.
Yeah, exactly. But it becomes because you've basically been thinking about it.
Well, isn't the difference optimism?
That's a
because someone who didn't believe in that stuff. Yeah, if you're an optimist, you'll go, that was supposed to happen at that time. How brilliant. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Whereas someone else would go, well, that's a coincidence. How interesting.
Maybe. Maybe I'm an optimist then.
I think you are.
In my life.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Except I'm incredibly depressed at the moment. So it's, kind of like congruent for, to have that.
Yeah, but do you know what you just said there? You're depressed at the moment.
Exactly.
So you can see that it's not permanent.
No, I can see it's not permanent because I've been through like mental health, issues where I've been in therapy and stuff like that. I think there was somebody on earlier, actually.
Yeah.
It's why I get the radio on, but I kind of like turned it off just simply because it was a bit close to, what I'm going through. But, whatever.
No, exactly. You do what you've got to do, Darren. But
exactly.
I think the fact that you say you're depressed at the moment speaks volumes. It means that you have got an awareness that it's temporary, and that's really important.
Well,
That saves.
It always is.
That can save lives.
Is.
That thought, that belief, that hope.
It absolutely always is. I'm not as low as I have been, but I'm pretty darn low.
Oh.
It's why I don't have any care about talking now. Normally, I'd be absolutely terrified about coming on the radio if I was basically not feeling like it didn't really matter. But sometimes having those kind of, those moments in your life can actually reinforce you and just go, well, who gives a monkeys? Nobody really, Nobody really cares, except I know, people do.
Mm.
And there's always people that do. And there's staff that do. If you don't have anybody at home, I don't have anybody at home. All it takes is basically speaking to somebody.
Yeah.
And that's what I did today.
Good.
I went to a therapist and I feel 1,000 times better.
Good.
I still know that I'm not great, but it was just that offloading on somebody else.
Yeah,
who was totally not known to me, who I've never met in my life before, and just saying, "This is how I feel. Can you take it away from me for at least a few hours?" And that kind of thing.
Yeah,
and,
just release the pressure a little bit.
Release the pressure, exactly. So I absolutely highly recommend anybody just go into therapy. And, it's I don't know.
Yeah, you do. It's done you some good.
I've been in therapy before, and then I kind of blame it up. Yeah. And, just basically got away when it got very difficult.
Right.
But these moments you have to face up to, and all that happens is you basically decline as soon as you, kind of give up, thinking that, you can't do it.
Yeah.
I think everybody can. And, it's... I don't know. It's actually very, very positive. If you can get clinical or therapy in any way, shape or form, NHS, I know, NHS are stretched at the moment and stuff like that. And it's tough. It is really tough to try and get, a therapist, one that you can trust, and two, that is a reasonable price. Because unfortunately, I have had to go down the route of paying for it.
Right.
And actually, that was one of the first things that I mentioned to my therapist was the fear of basically trying to pay for it. Because I thought it feels wrong to pay for something that is just for me. It's almost like me going, I don't know, go-karting.
Well, except it could save your life.
Exactly. And that's the ridiculous thing. I'm putting it into a context of me going out for a night out or something, and it's like, hold on. This is basically saving my life and also saving my family's life.
Good.
Because it is so much better to spend money on something that's positive for you rather than something that's really, really negative.
Yeah. Okay, Dan. Well, thank you for ringing, and it's nice to hear your experience. And I know times are tough. I probably have no idea how tough it is for you, but you know there's hope there. I can hear it in your voice, and hold on to it.
Can I just say one other thing about the staff touching stuff?
Yeah, go on.
I run a company, and very early on, I very quickly realised you never, ever touch a member of female staff or male staff or anybody. If that politician in America doesn't understand that, then he needs to fire all his staff, because, I'm sorry, it's a blatant, obvious.
Okay, thanks, Darren.
You just don't touch.
Oh, thanks very much for calling.
See you later.
Night. 0344 499 1000. Had an interesting tweet about that as well. Thank you very much to the person that sent this through, saying, where is it? It was saying something to the effect that it's a man, and he's had people touch him at work, you know, take him by the shoulders, or you know, or approach him from the back. And they were surprised when he took exception to it, because they have no idea what he's been through in his past. And so it triggered things. And that's the thing, you don't know about anybody's life before they got to that point. You don't know. So, you know, I don't think it's a massive ask to just keep your hands to yourself, is it? 0344 499 1000. And I'm coming for you just after this break.
The Late Night Alternative with Katherine Boyle. Speech radio with a difference. Talk Radio.
0344 499 1000. Poor Anne, I've kept you waiting for ages. I do apologise, Anne.
Hello, Katherine.
Hello, how are you doing?
I'm all right. Thank you so much for listening to me when I was down. Was it Monday? Was it Monday night, wasn't it?
Oh, my pleasure.
It was very nice of you, and I didn't know if you sounded a bit preoccupied when you're speaking to the caller after me. I thought, oh crumbs, I've depressed, you know, everyone, you know. So
I'm fine, Anne. Honestly, I was just, you know, calls like yours. I'm going to be honest, they do leave me, give me food for thought, but in a good way. So I also, most of all, I'm always really touched that people feel able to tell me that stuff. So thank you.
The guy that was just on about depression, I was just, I know, like I was saying previously, that I think with myself, with mental illness, I think, like, you know, too much spirituality and religion's not good, you know. But I think maybe a little bit in moderation. I tuned into Joyce Meyer on the radio tonight, and her topic was she's I don't know if you know, she's a TBN famous minister in America.
No.
She's well worth seeing into, and her talk was about when you get up and go has gone, and she talked about depression, that some of it is can be chemical, and some of it can be the thoughts that we choose to have and go with. And I don't know whether it might help that previous guy that said, you know, he suffers with depression, you know, because a lot of people do these days, because, you know, the world is very difficult for everyone now, you know.
Well, do you know what? It's a lonely place, and people are cut off from the sort of society that we were designed to survive in, you know. And I'm not saying that the tribal society that we used to run around in loincloths in was all good, but it was necessary for survival. We'd share each other's burdens and all that sort of stuff, and and the way we're living now is increasingly isolating. But, you know, obviously I'm not saying that there isn't a biological reason for depression in people too, but it doesn't help the way we live, and the way that we're encouraged to live is kind of accumulating crap that's not going to feed the hole in our soul, and then being surprised when we still feel empty.
I've got something that if you don't mind me reading, it's very short. It's only a few lines actually, and it sort of just goes in with what you've just said. I wrote this last year. I put life is really just learning to develop the self, in brackets the soul, whether through families, relationships, babies, or whatever. Holidays, material things, they're just a short-term fix to help us cope with our pains and tribulations. What is important is that we are drawing nearer to God. Still there.
Yeah. And, you know, I'm thinking there'll be people listening who say, oh, I don't believe in God. Okay, replace God with whatever it is that you believe gives you a reason to live. You know, those moments where you feel joy, that.
Yeah.
Because I'm not a religious person. I'm not sure I believe in the God that I was brought up to believe in, put it that way. But I know that there's something bigger than getting up, eating, going to work, coming home, eating again, going to bed.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah. I think some people, you know, I mean, I think some people do believe that there is a higher power, but maybe not necessarily the sort of image of that you have in religion. You know,
you mean the old man white beard?
Yeah. I'm on national radio. I'm trying to choose my words. It's lucky I don't know how to do all this. Is it tweeting and what is it? Instagram and all that stuff.
Well, that's another thing, you know, that people are living out their lives increasingly for the benefit of people they don't know. You know, all this kind of idea that you've got to show strangers what you're doing the whole time. Is groovy. Do you know what? If it's a means to connecting in a meaningful way in the real world, cool. But if that's the extent of you reaching out, then don't be surprised when it doesn't feel natural. And fulfilling.
I think I don't know whether we're all a bit more in tune with energy now, you know. It came to me the sentence today that we wear our energy, you know, whether it be positive or negative. I mean, I was on the train the other day and there was a group of people that got off, and I thought to myself, I'm sure they're all from the council building. They have that energy about them, you know.
Right.
I'm quite perceptive, so I pick up things, you know.
Here we go. We're talking vibes now. I'm going to have to cut you off for a second, and I'll come back to you after the news if that's all right, because this needs further exploration. 0344 499 1000. I'll be right back with you, Anne. And if you want to come on after Anne, you know what you need to do. This is Talk Radio. I'm Katherine Boyle.
The Late Night Alternative with Katherine Boyle on Talk Radio.
The wind is in from Africa. Last night I couldn't sleep. Oh, you know it sure is hard to leave here, Carrie, but it's really not my home. My fingernails are filthy. I've got beach tar on my feet, and I miss my clean white linen and my fancy French cologne. Oh, Carrie, get out your cane. Carrie, get out your cane. Put on some silk. I'll put on some silk. Oh, you're a neat old daddy, but I like you. Come on down to the Mermaid Cafe, and I will buy you a bottle of wine, and we'll laugh and toast to nothing and smash our empty glasses down. Let's have a round for these freaks and these soldiers, a round for these friends of mine. Let's have another round for the bright red devil who keeps me in this tourist town. Come on, Carrie, get out your cane. I'll put on some silk. I'll put on some silk. Oh, you're a neat old daddy, but I like you. I like you. I like you. I like you. Maybe I'll go to Amsterdam, or maybe I'll go to Rome and rent me a grand piano and put some flowers around my room. But let's not talk about fairy wells now. The night is a starry dome, and they're playing that scratchy rock and roll beneath the Matla moon. Come on, Carrie, get out your cane. Put on some silk. I'll put on some silk. You're a mean old daddy, but I like you. The wind is in from Africa. Last night I I couldn't sleep. Oh, you know it sure is hard to leave you, but it's really not my home. Maybe it's been too long a time since I was scrambling down in the street. Now they got me used to that clean white linen and that fancy French cologne. Oh, Carrie, get out your cane. I'll put on my finest silk. Go to the Mermaid Cafe, have fun tonight. I said, oh, you're a mean old daddy, but you're out of sight.
I bet they looked aside, didn't they? Ernest Silkin in with his cane. On the Razzle, Joni Mitchell and Kerry. I just love that. That's from Blue. And if you've never heard that album, it's an absolute beauty. An absolute beauty. 0344 499 1000. I must warn you that it's now the midnight hour and we're about to venture into the kinds of conversations that you have just before kicking out time at the pub. Anne and I were talking just before the news about vibes and how you can read people's vibes.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Go on. So explain where you were going with that. You're saying you were on the train and people got on or off?
Yeah, I know there was a group of women and one or two, I think there's one or two men. They all got off at one stop, and I just thought to myself, they're from the council. Because as it came to me today, people wear their energy. Everything is energy. Life is energy. Energy you can't kill. It's a life force. That's why I find it sometimes, I suppose not everyone realises that, and that's why I find it sometimes hard to believe that people don't believe that there is an afterlife. I mean, it's like the human aura. I mean, some people, do see it, mediums and psychics, but not only that. I mean, there is apparently something called curling photography, something like that, and which can actually photograph the human aura, which is the life force.
I've heard of that before as well.
Yeah. So, I'm quite. I don't know what's the word, perceptive, intuitive like that. I can pick up people's thoughts, energy. I mean, a lot of the time we all can to some extent, but we don't realise it for what it is. I mean, it's like when you're sitting on the bus or the train and people move seats. It's not always because the other person might smell. They pick up their energy and they're uncomfortable because their aura is mixed in with the other person's and they're not on the same wavelength, I mean, it's all right, your aura's mixing if you're girlfriend and boyfriend or husband and wife, but, a total stranger, they might not, your auras, don't always, get along. And people switch seats on trains and buses or buying a house, that's another way.
Oh, my goodness, how many times have you walked into the house you've ended up buying and known it was the right one?
Exactly.
You start seeing yourself there.
You're picking up the energy of the house, and it's I mean, you could go into one house and it could be beautiful, or all decorated, or just all pretty and everything, and you just don't feel right. You just sense this is not right, and you could go to another one that probably needs loads of work.
Yeah. I was going to say,
feel wonderful about it.
I was going to say, conversely, you go into a fixer-upper that everyone else thinks you're daft for buying, but you know that it's going to be all right.
Exactly. Yeah.
Isn't it funny that? And I don't really hold with auras and stuff, although I've got no evidence to the contrary. And actually, sometimes I'm a little bit too northern and sceptical about things, and a bit too no nonsense. And actually, I recognise the fact that what was magic 200 years ago is now scientific fact. So, it is kind of arrogant to assume we know everything about the world. But this thing about being able to intuitively recognise someone's intentions or characteristics or state of mind and stuff, that's kind of something that's a survival thing, isn't it? From when we were working out whether we needed to fight or fly.
Probably, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So you walk down the street and if someone's about to jump you, so you walk across the other side of the road.
Yeah.
So
it's very difficult being quite intuitive like that, because there's a lot of negativity in the world these days, I don't know how to explain it, you know. I mean, when I get on the bus now, I'm now thinking I'd be better getting on the train because there's always a lot of negativity. I always feel like Hyacinth Bouquet when I get on the bus. I don't look like her, I promise you. But when you're having to dye your shoes and your clothes, your bag's dark just to fit in, it's something else because I just stand out a bit too much. So, there's a lot of negativity on the bus. I think it's people just where they're at, depression, not meaning myself, but, people, the shortage of money and jobs and everything going on.
And I think we're also being taught to be sort of jealous or suspicious about each other.
Well, they say jealousy is the root of all evil, and it is. And I have to go nearly half across the country just for my morning coffee and to do my food shop because, I'm just not living, as I said previously, in the right...
You don't feel like you're in the right spot?
Yeah, and the town nearest to me, I've outgrown it. So every time I've now tried to stop going in there because I feel I'll be almost lynched.
Right.
And that's it. That's not like that isn't paranoia. It is just that I just have a presence about me. I just don't fit in.
Yeah, you feel like you stand out like a sore thumb.
Yeah, that's it. And it's very exhausting and tiring. I love watching the Sam Fryers baby diaries.
Oh, do you?
No, their children, their babies and children, they're so adorable, and they've got such a lovely... I mean, I know no one has a perfect life, but they seem such a healthy, lovely, the sisters, they're beautiful, and their husbands and the children and their family, and they're just all so happy and smiley. I'd love a life like that.
I also love the fact that she's called that baby Paul.
Do you? Why?
Just because it's a name no one uses anymore, and it seems like, she called it Paul because its dad's name's Paul, and it's just an expression of, very pure love and admiration for someone.
Yeah. She's got a nice husband, and they both have got nice husbands, and
Bit of escapism. There's nothing wrong with that, Anne.
Oh, yeah. Well, this is it. I love the Housewives of Beverly Hills as well.
Me too. Me too. Now, what is the tea with that? Because I have heard that Kyle and, what's her name? The one I love the most of all, Lisa Vanderpump, have fallen out.
Oh.
But obviously it's in a series that they're showing in America, and we must catch up, Anne, because we're out of the loop. Yeah. I love it. I mean, they live...
when it's due back on.
Well, I wonder. But they live ridiculous lives, OK, and they're too much in each other's business, probably because most of them haven't got jobs. But it's a lovely half an hour of escapism, and you can go, do you know what? For all their money, they've got a lot of nonsense going on, and I wouldn't swap that part of their lives.
Yeah. They all do a lot of arguing, I think. And like the Housewives of Cheshire in a bed.
Oh, I haven't watched them because I know I would be hooked. I started watching the Housewives of New Jersey. That's the one that got me, and then I got into Hollywood, those ones. But there's loads of others. There's some in Georgia as well, and oh God, I could spend my whole life watching those programmes, and I know it's no good for my brain, but still, it's a nice relief now and again.
Well, that's it. I mean, I always think I don't know whether you watch Coronation Street and Emmerdale and all that. I haven't watched them for donkey's years because I'd want paying as a counsellor to watch them. Because they're always arguing and fighting and
Coronation Street used to be fun, didn't it?
Well,
used to be comical.
In what year?
A long time ago. A long time ago.
Because they're just, I don't know, there's too much criticising and negativity.
Well, and also, why does no one ever just move because they get a different job? They all have to, kill each other or go missing or... No one just moves on. Anyway, and it's always nice to speak to you, and it's nice to hear you laugh.
Yeah, thank you. And I'm going to miss you now because this is your last night, is it?
No, I've got tomorrow, and I'm on all the time. I'm just usually on with Iain.
Oh, yeah. Yes, I he's a bit Neanderthal, isn't he, Iain?
Well,
I taught myself the internet briefly, and I just tapped on YouTube, and it showed him with you, and he was talking about passing wind.
Oh God, he's awful. Yeah, so in that respect, yes, he is. But actually, he's my best mate, and
I was just going to say
he's
you
a
look
lovely,
very close.
He's
You
a very
look
sensitive soul, really, and
I know he's got his face looking at his eyes. You can tell he's a nice person.
Yeah, he is. He's lovely.
I'm just joking when he said about passing wind.
I know, I won't. Well, no, you're quite right about the passing wind. That's absolutely outrageous, and we'll end in a tribunal. No, take care, Anne. I'll speak to you again.
All right. Lots of love.
No,
Bye.
back at you. Bye-bye. Hello, Nellie. Nellie.
Oh, hello, Catherine. You okay?
What are you doing, keeping me in suspense? I thought you weren't there.
I just heard. I think I heard the last part of my name.
All right. Okay.
Just a E. I don't know what it was. Anyway,
you're on.
Yes. So, I tweeted you about listening again to the last night's show. Great
yes.
show it was.
Thank you.
And obviously, the problem I've got is that when I'm listening again, if there's something that comes up that I want to chat about, I can't ring in. So, imagine me as a time traveller.
Okay.
Travel back, or travel forward. Travel forward, travel back. Travel forward from yesterday to today.
With some words which will make sense to people if they were listening yesterday.
But hopefully. So, there was a Amsterdam story you were looking for at some point.
Yeah, so the collective of prostitutes that work in Amsterdam are upset because the local council has decided that there's too many tourists flooding the area, and so they're going to stop the walking tours of the red light district. But the thing is, the pros are saying those tours are conducted in kind of cooperation and collaboration with us, and they're done in a really respectful way. And if you get rid of them, what you're going to get is same people probably, but this time they're kind of walking around, not really understanding what the rules of the place are, taking pictures and being less respectful than they would be if they had someone to explain, you know, the sort of mores of that area.
I mean, the red light district is a fascinating place. I mean, you can't help but sort of, you know, be in awe of just the whole place. I mean, I'm not that way inclined to sort of, you know, go pursuing anything like that, but the whole vibe of the area is just it's very liberating and very sort of, it's a very nice vibe, the whole area.
Is it? It's not a seedy vibe?
Personally, I don't think it is, because there's usually, I mean, I remember going there, I've been there a couple of times in Amsterdam, and always we spent the night sort of just walking around Amsterdam, and eventually we sort of wind our way through the red light district. And it's not just, you know, a place for prostitution, it's a lot of other things going on there too, and we had a couple of drinks there and things, and it's one of those places where it's an interesting place to watch other people who are walking by and to see their reactions, to see the way they are around the red light district. It's a fascinating place to watch human behaviour.
Absolutely, because it's the oldest profession. It's something that women have been using for their own survival in the past. Some women more than survive on it. Some women have done bloody well out of it and ended up with a lot more power than men have been comfortable with in hundreds of years ago. But also it's been a way of, because of the taboo around it, it's been a way that women have been held back. So the fact that Amsterdam have taken a completely different attitude to it and put it right there, the women are safe, or safer than they would have been elsewhere, and they're also held up as some kind of, one of the assets of the place almost. They're doing these walking tours in collaboration with the sort of collective of prostitutes, but also the council is on board with it. They're not being shoved away and pretending that they don't exist. I bet it is interesting, actually.
Yeah. The first time I went to Amsterdam, I went with a friend, and we travelled by car, and we lost his car. Now,
how'd you lose a car in Amsterdam?
Well, let me explain. So I got the ferry over from Newcastle, spent a few days there, went back travelling his car. He knew Holland fairly well because his dad lived there, and he knew of a town next to Amsterdam where he thought, we'll park the car there, get the train in, get to the hotel, then at the end of the whole day, get the car back, which sounds like a fairly okay plan.
Standard procedure?
So on the way back, the day travelling back, bearing in mind we've got a ferry to catch, I waited at the train station. He ran off to grab the car. Half an hour later, he wasn't back. Eventually, he turned up out of breath, saying the car wasn't there.
What?
And we found out that the road that we parked it on, that the day after we parked the car, there was a market on that road, and they just basically sweeped the whole street of all the cars. So it was actually held. It was held in like a
pound,
some sort of pound on the other side of the town where we were. So we had to sort of rush over there, get the car, pay. Well, it was €300 to get it back as well, which my friend had no money left, so I had to stump up for it. And we just about caught the ferry in time, but it was touch and go, and I wasn't best pleased to be €300 light either.
No, and that kind of burst of adrenaline and problem solving kind of takes the edge off the relaxing nature of, the trip, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, and plus we went over there, and obviously we had a hotel room and went and had drinks over. I wasn't sort of inclined to sort of smoke any funny cigarettes. I wasn't that way inclined, but my friend was.
Right.
And one night we were sort of I think we were in one of the juice bars in Amsterdam, and I just went to the toilet, and I came back and he was just gone. And apparently what happened, he'd wandered back to the hotel room, went to sleep, and I just didn't have the key to get anywhere. So I was having to wander around Amsterdam for a couple of hours, figuring out as well, trying to phone him, because I couldn't work out how to phone him because we're in Holland and you had to put the code in. I don't know.
And he's totally oblivious.
Yeah, luckily he woke up and I managed to ring him, so it was all fine. But let's just say the whole day wasn't exactly wasn't the nicest memory, should I say, a bit of a frustrating experience.
Well, it certainly wasn't as relaxing for you as it was for your mate.
No, that's very true, yeah.
Would you go back?
Well, I've been back another time, and the second time I went back there was a few more of us going, and we actually stayed in a campsite on the outskirts of Amsterdam.
Right.
And then sort of you can get like sort of there's like a metro system there, and this metro system was straight into the city centre, and that was really good because it was more sort of. I think if there's a lot more of you as well, to get a crowd of you together, that's good. And having like a whole camping vibe as well, which was nice too. So that's a good way of doing it. If you can find a nice campsite on the outskirts, I would suggest doing that. Nice way of doing it.
Or just go with someone who's not going to lose a car and then go and have a sleep.
Yeah, that's another thing. Yeah, and there's other thing from last night as well.
Go on.
You had some famous people ringing up, didn't you?
Yeah, we did have a couple, and the strangest thing of all, they were dead famous people.
Yeah, there was Roger Moore.
Yes.
Ian
McCaskill.
Yeah. Well, I've got someone famous here.
Oh.
But do you want to talk? So doesn't really want to talk.
It's not
Jimmy
Sooty
Carr.
again, is it? All right, okay, yeah.
No, it's Jimmy Carr.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to talk, though, so I'm thinking to maybe tell a joke. Right. Maybe he'll do that laugh.
Okay. All right, I've got a joke.
Go on, then.
You ready? How do you know when a chili is nosy? When it's hell up in your business. Definitely Jimmy Carr. 03444991000. Thanks, Nelly and Jimmy. I appreciate it.
Experience the unconventional, the unpredictable, and the completely unorthodox. The Late Night Alternative with Katherine Boyle on Talk Radio.
I've just found this on Twitter. It's amazing. 2 years ago, Liz Smith, Director of Nursing at Franciscan Children's Hospital in Brighton, Massachusetts, was heading towards the elevator at work when she saw her, a tiny girl with bright blue eyes and a single soft brown curl swept across her forehead. "Who's this?" Smith asked the nurse who was wheeling the infant down the hall. "Her name is Giselle," the nurse told her. The infant, a ward of the state, had been at the hospital for 5 months, but Smith had never seen her before. Smith learned that Giselle, then 8 months old, had been born premature and at another hospital in July 2016, weighing just under 2 pounds. She had neonatal abstinence syndrome, a result of her birth mother using heroin, cocaine and methadone during pregnancy. The state of Massachusetts took custody of Giselle when she was 3 months old and transferred her to a Franciscan Children's Hospital because her lungs needed specialised care and she had a feeding tube. The baby didn't have a single visitor in her 5 months at the hospital. Social service workers were trying to place her in foster care. Giselle, Smith told herself all the way home that evening. Giselle. It was at that moment, said Smith, that she knew, I'm going to foster this baby, I'm going to be her mother. Life often interferes with well-planned intentions, and for Smith, who grew up in Andover, Massachusetts, it was no different. When she lost her mother aged 19 to liver cancer, Smith decided the best way to honour her was to live a good life and follow her selfless example. My mum was a paediatric nurse who always put others first, recalled Smith, a middle child with 2 brothers and 2 sisters, so I grew up wanting to be a nurse too. She also wanted to nurture in a more personal way, so for decades Smith, now 45, always thought she would marry and raise a family as her mother had. After her parents divorced when she was 9, her mum put a lot of effort into keeping the house full of laughter and joy, Smith recalled. When several of her siblings married and started to have children of their own, Smith said she naturally thought that one day she'd do the same, but it just didn't happen. I never imagined becoming a mum would be a challenge, she said. It's a desire you can try to push away and fill with other distractions, but it never goes away. As Smith threw herself into being the world's greatest aunt for her 13 nieces and nephews, 13, her siblings picked up on her pain. I always pictured Liz as a mum, since she's a nurturer by nature, said one of her sisters, Ellie Smith, 40, a Homeland Security analyst with 3 boys. Liz Smith, who'd hoped to conceive through in vitro fertilisation, found out her health insurance wouldn't cover it and she couldn't afford it on her own. So her sister suggested adoption or fostering, but Smith didn't want to consider it. But then she saw Giselle. Since the moment I met her, there was something behind her striking blue eyes capturing my attention, she said. I felt that I needed to love this child and keep her safe. After putting in a request to foster Giselle, Smith went to the baby's hospital room every day after work to sit next to her crib and talk in a soft voice. She was behind developmentally and I wanted to get her out of the hospital and get her thriving, Smith recalled. 3 weeks later, in April 2017, when Giselle was 9 months old, she received permission to take her home with a stipulation that every effort would be made by the state to reunite the infant with her birth parents. Her friends at work threw her a baby shower and helped her set up a crib in the bedroom. Leaving the parking lot of the hospital with Giselle and a car full of baby stuff, I was in shock that it was happening, said Smith. She took off 2 weeks to settle into her new role. I was excited but nervous, realising I was committing everything I had to this child who might not be in my life forever, she said. Although Giselle's birth parents were initially granted supervised weekly visits, ultimately the state determined they were incapable of caring for the infant and their parental rights were terminated. No other family members were found who were able to take the baby. Smith was thrilled that she could apply to adopt Giselle, but she understood the sorrow of the situation for the birth mother and father. The day I got the call that their parental rights were terminated was very sad, she said. My gain was another's loss. It's a feeling difficult to describe when you're experiencing this life-changing moment that someone else is as well in the opposite way. And the bottom line is, it's devastating for another family. With plenty of nurturing from Smith, her brother Phil Smith, who lived with her at the time, and other trusted caregivers, the infant was soon meeting milestone after milestone. And by Halloween of 2017, when Giselle was 15 months old, she was walking, and she knew several words. Her first word was badoon, for balloon, said Liz Smith, and today we still call it that. Then, last year, on October 18th, in a courtroom in Brockton, Massachusetts, that was filled with family members, co-workers and friends, Liz Smith's dream became official. A judge signed off on Giselle's adoption and presented her with legal documents certifying that she's now the girl's mother. This is the mother-daughter relationship my sisters waited for a long time, said Phil Smith. It's plain to see they've brought a completeness to each other. Although Giselle, who's now 2, still needs to use a supplemental feeding tube, says Liz Smith, the daughter now weighs 23 pounds and has an appreciation for cheese, avocados and pizza. She's also energetic, loving and often bursts spontaneously into song. And her new favourite song is You Are My Sunshine, said Smith. And every time she sings it, I think to myself, you have no idea. No, you're crying. Hello, Nigel.
Hello. It's Frank Spencer here.
I thought it was someone other than Nigel. Oh, how are you doing, Frank Spencer?
Well, Betty's gone to bed. She said I should talk to you by myself, Catherine. How you been today, Catherine?
I'm all right. I'm not fallen through the ceiling or gone down the hill in a bath or anything that you get up to.
I got up earlier today and I went off to the food place
Oh,
know,
hang
to
on.
get
It's
my food.
hang on a minute. It's Nigel.
Pardon?
It's not Frank Spencer at all. It's Nigel.
No, it's Frank Spencer here.
Well, what are you
He's got
doing
bit
going
of
to a
trouble.
food bank?
So I went to the food bank, and you never guess what? When I was on my way to the food bank, I got a puncture.
No.
I got a puncture, and I had to pump my tyre up 6 times. And Betty couldn't be with me, so I was on my bike on my own, 'cause it wasn't a tandem, you see. So I had a bit of trouble getting to Maidstone on time, so I didn't get to the place
to
get my food. So I'm going to go tomorrow and get my food tomorrow, maybe, before 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
Have you seen my Twitter lately?
No, I haven't. Is there something going on there? What kind of a question is that, Nigel?
I'm trying to keep the voice going. Sorry. I'm trying to keep the voice going and think at the same time.
It's all right, Nigel. I think we'd all worked out it was you.
So anyway...
Oh, he's back.
Anyway, Frank's here.
Okay.
Have you seen my... Nigel Reader Free is my Twitter, and I've got 1,000 views in 24 hours and 200 views.
What they're looking at, though, Nigel?
I better go back to Nigel now.
Yeah, you had. Yeah.
Here we go. There's Nigel here.
Is it?
That's good, isn't it? Isn't that good? 1,200 views in 24 hours on Twitter.
What are they looking at?
Well, it's view. You know, the views of your films, or what? Well, I thought that was quite a lot, 1,200 views.
Oh my goodness, it's really good.
Yes, and sometimes over a week I've had 14 or 15,000.
Good grief!
In a week. I'm starting to talk like Frank Spencer all the time now. I can't stop talking like Frank Spencer.
Happens.
Could someone get me some water, please? Yes.
Oh, it's Alan Partridge now.
I do that quite well, don't I, Frank Spencer?
I think yes, it's superb. So, talk to me about this.
I used to do it at Butlins, you know, for talent shows.
Did you? And how did you get on with that?
I had a berry.
You had to what?
The berry in the raincoat.
Oh, right, okay.
What he used to
I thought
wear,
you said you had to bury him. You had the berry in the raincoat. Okay, yeah, I've got you.
So a long raincoat with a berry, and I took him off for a long time. Well, you know, trying to win talent shows. But
Yeah.
I did all right at first sometimes.
Good.
So what were you going to say, Catherine?
I was going to say, just tell me again. So you went to the and you know where this day centre is, so you know where you're heading this time.
I remembered I knew where it was all the time. I didn't need to be shown.
What are you like?
Yes, because it was a Salvation Army at the back of the Salvation Army place.
Is that where it is? Okay.
Yes. So I went there today after the time you're supposed to get the food, and they said I spoke to the lady. She said come back tomorrow or next week. You know, when I want some food.
Okay.
So that's okay because it cost me £15 to get my bike repaired because of having an injury put into my tyre.
Oh,
because I couldn't do it because I had a thorn in my tyre.
Right.
A thorn in my tyre.
It sounds nasty.
So anyway.
Okay, so
a lot of money, isn't it, Catherine?
Pardon?
£15. It's a lot of money to get your back wheel done.
Yeah, it is. It is. But
I couldn't really afford it.
But if it enables you to get there, and you
it gets from A to B. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. We spend more on cars. Let's put it that way. But I know times are tough.
It don't need any petrol. That push.
No, exactly. Exactly. All right, Nigel. Well, good luck tomorrow.
So I know where it is now, and I can go. Yeah. So that you think that's quite a lot of 1,000 views in 24 hours?
I think
isn't it?
I think it's very impressive.
On Twitter.
Yeah.
Do you get that many?
No. Do I? Heck, I'm boring.
I saw you on Twitter. You're Katherine Boyle, isn't it? Boyle, isn't
That's
it?
me. Yeah.
Yeah. I saw. But it hasn't got a tick on your one.
No. I'm not famous enough.
Is that still you, though?
Yeah, it's still me.
Still you. So I did. Did you get my message the other week? I did send a message on there.
What did it say, Nigel?
I can't remember what it was, but I can do a new one tonight if you want.
Okay.
Do you look at it very often?
I look at it a bit, but sometimes I don't all day. I don't have it with me all day, so if I miss it, I miss it.
The stars don't look at them very often. Either
oh
do they?
No, they have people to look at it for them.
They haven't got time for it, have they?
No, too busy being fabulous.
I went down to see Helen Grant. I went down to Helen Grant's place, and I saw Alex and Katie.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I broke down a bit. I had a bit of a nervous breakdown when I was crying and I was so upset about Mum, you know, as you know. And I sort of had a bit of a breakdown, and I got over it. And I hadn't eaten all day, and I'm struggling to cope with it, honestly.
Was that today that happened?
Well, because I had all the trouble with the bike, and I couldn't get into Maidstone, but I had to keep stopping and pumping tyre.
Yeah. But you've eaten since then,
sorry?
right?
Pardon?
You've eaten since then, though, haven't you?
Oh,
You've
of
eaten
course,
today.
yes. I did have a burger about 2 o'clock, because I got to Maidstone quite early.
Okay.
But, so I went down to see them because I was so depressed, you know, about everything.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I sort of started to cry as well.
Do you know what? It's everything you feel is natural, and it's allowed, and people understand. And the thing is about...
And they said to me, yeah...
I was going to say, what you're...
to me, I'm always welcome to go and see them, they said.
And they mean it, and they're good people. Here's the deal, Nigel. Don't ever be embarrassed about missing your mum, because it's still very new, and you'll find that you get on with things during the day, and then it creeps up on you, and you just have to let it out.
Everything's so black to me. I can't stand the quiet now. You know, I used to like quiet to go to sleep, but I must have something on to take my mind off of it, like the television. I listen to the radio while I go to sleep.
Yeah, not this show, though,
Pardon?
Nothing?
Yeah, so I have the radio on, leave the radio on, and then I drop off to sleep for about an hour, then wake up. I've only had 2 hours sleep in 2 days.
Oh, that's no good, Nigel. You must look after yourself.
Well, I'm getting me tablets tomorrow that help me from the doctors. You know, I've run out of the antidepressant one.
Okay.
So hopefully they'll help me to sleep, but they might not, because sometimes they don't.
Okay.
It's just it's just catching up with me now, the shock, really.
Yeah. Hey, Nigel, have you tried ASMR?
What's that?
Well, I'm going to speak to Sally in a minute, and I know Sally swears by it for not being able... When she can't sleep, if you look on YouTube, and I know you look on YouTube because you...
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, all different things.
Put ASMR, and what it is, it's this weird thing where people, they talk like this, and they'll be talking all the way through about various things, whispering like that. And some people find it very relaxing.
Oh, I see, yeah. I don't think I would.
You don't like people whispering in your ears, Nigel?
I don't mind. Sounds quite sexy sometimes.
Well, precisely. Do you know what, Nigel? Whatever gets you to sleep is fine.
But I find that if I watch a girly film, it takes my mind off it as well, you know. But to carry on normal, you know.
Okay. So, well, thanks for sharing that.
Well, no, I mean, not anything too rude, but anything, you know. If I watch, I'll tell you what I do like, listening to Miley Cyrus sing.
Okay.
That's some of her singing.
Yeah, but some of her singing is a bit too hot rocking. You'll never get to sleep with that going on.
No, I'm talking about the Broken Heart one, the country western.
Oh yeah, that one.
That country and western sound. But anyway, so I've been really quite busy washing and lots of things.
All right then, Nigel. Well, listen.
But I can't seem to get tired, so I do drop off to sleep. It's impossible for my brain to relax, you know.
Yeah, but at the same time, you are a very active person. All that biking and fresh air, you need to rest. Even if you're not asleep, just make sure you're lying down.
It's horrible laying in bed when you can't sleep.
I know. I know. Have you got a little eye mask?
No. I'll turn the light out, though.
Turn the light out and stick something over your eyes.
Well, no, I do lay in the dark. Once I get into bed, I turn everything off and it's dark and I just listen to the radio.
All right, well, do you know there's a lot of people doing that now and hearing you? Isn't that funny?
But I feel a bit guilty about it. Keep breaking down wherever I am, you know.
You mustn't.
I've just lost my mum, you know.
You mustn't. Don't ever apologise for that. It's natural, and everyone's going to go through it at some point if they're lucky enough to have a mum in the first place. It's kind of...
Okay, I better go. Maybe I'll ring you tomorrow and do a song.
Well, do you know what? I'd like you to ring me tomorrow just to let me know whether you got to that food bank in the end.
Yeah, because every time I try to go, something is stopping me. But
yeah. You'll get there, Nigel. You'll get there tomorrow.
I'll get there eventually, yeah.
All right. Take care of yourself.
I'll do a song tomorrow night then. Is that all right tomorrow night?
That would be excellent.
Do a song?
That would be excellent.
Yeah. I'd rather do the Miley Cyrus one for my mum, the one I usually do.
You can do whichever one you want. All right, Nigel.
Not Carrickfergus.
You could do Carrickfergus if you want. Do you know, for a lot of our listeners, Carrickfergus is a hit.
Carrickfergus.
All right, you can sing that if you want. All right, Nigel.
Speak to you. Have a nice day tomorrow, and I'll speak to you tomorrow night then, Catherine.
You too, Nigel.
God bless and...
Night.
Bye, Catherine.
Bye, Nigel. 03444 499 1000. Sally, I'm coming your way now, so brace yourself.
The Late Night Alternative with Katherine Boyle. Speech radio with a difference. Talk Radio.
There's just under 2 weeks to go before our sister station, TalkSport, puts the legend that is John Motson live onto the stage at London's Greenwood Theatre. That's Monday, April 15th. You can be there to hear Motty talking to TalkSport's Paul Hawksby about his amazing career in sports broadcasting over the last 50 years, including jousting with Brian Clough, Sir Alex Ferguson and many more. Don't miss it. Grab some of the last tickets now from talksport.com/live show for a great night out. Hello, Sally.
Hello. There's loads of ASMR videos I'm sure Nigel would love.
Well,
out there.
I don't want to unleash any sort of beast, so maybe best not. When he said he enjoyed watching girly films, I didn't want to probe any further.
No, I think I think you did right there.
He's a single man. He can do what he wants.
Yeah. But yeah, they really do help me. So yeah.
What is it? What is it that works? Because it's a strange thing, and for some people it does nothing at all. Other people find it creepy, and you love it, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, I've sort of had it since I was a child. Watching someone do something very meticulous and slow.
Yeah.
And that it makes my head go all fuzzy and tingly, and my limbs and that. And a few years ago, I wasn't well. I was in and out of hospital a lot, and I wasn't sleeping very well. And I was desperate to find something to calm me down and that. And I was looking on YouTube, and I just came across ASMR, and it just really helped me, and I've been using it ever since. And it calms me down if I'm having a panic attack. It just relaxes me and helps me sleep, and it's my go-to thing now if I need to sleep.
Yeah.
So,
well, whatever works.
Yeah. There's a lot of people who use it for PTSD and things like that, and a lot of ex-soldiers comment on there that they use it a lot to help them sleep and that. And adverts are now starting to use it, and I know KFC and Pepsi have used it as for their advertising, and there's a channel where famous actors and actresses will come on and do ASMR and things like that, and it's sort of taken off a bit more. So yeah, interesting, really interesting. And I always find people's sort of remedies for not being able to sleep is the most frustrating. And then, it have knock-on effects for the next day. Yeah. You can't function properly. Then you start to stress about whether it's going to happen again. That whole thing, just awful. So whatever gets people through, I find really fascinating. I bought myself one. I said to Nigel about the eye masks, because I've never really bothered with anything like that in the past. Yeah. But I do find that because of the hours I work, when the sun, and I've got very light curtains, when the sun comes up, it kind of starts to wake me up. And now I've got this eye mask, which is ridiculous. It's like a cat, and terrified my husband the first time. I didn't tell him I had it, and he said he woke up and there was this like kind of bandit right in his face. But I mean, I've never experienced such a deep sleep. Well, not for years anyway, because before I did this shift, I was doing breakfast shift, so my body clock's always been skew with. But honestly, that mask has worked miracles. Yeah, I mean, I tried an eye mask before. I'm a huge Audrey Hepburn fan, and I always imagine myself waking up, like breakfast at Tiffany's with the eye mask. I've looked for a mask just like that, and you can get them from America, but they're like 40-50 quid, and I can't justify that. But they are super elaborate. Yeah, but it's never worked for me. No. Not like it worked for her, No George Peppard knocking on my door. So, I used to love that film, but it doesn't. The big bits of it now, they don't hold up anymore. No, the Mickey Rooney. I mean, Mickey Rooney. I never really got it, but I suppose it was of its time. Yeah. But yeah, I was also going to say you need to. You're missing out on the Housewives.
Oh, what? I'm watching the wrong ones.
You need to get. There's an app called Hey You.
Right.
It's all legal, above board and everything. It's $3.99 a month.
What?
And yeah, it's $3.99 a month. All of the Housewives are on there. I don't watch the Kardashians, but every single episode of the Housewives is on there. They're on there like 2 hours after it's shown in America. And yeah, it's all going on with Lisa Vanderpump.
So what's the score with Lisa and Kyle?
Oh well, what's happened is Dorit as she's adopted a puppy from Vanderpump.
Okay,
you know, she's
so
got his dog,
Dorit is the one that has got the weirdest accent in the world, but she's actually an American, right?
Yeah.
I've got you. And her husband is Boy George's manager.
Yeah, PK, yeah.
PK.
Oh, God.
Right. Yeah. And I love Lisa, but she gets herself into a lot of trouble, mostly because she's too British and they just think she's rude, but she's actually just been quite dry.
Yeah. So, yeah, Dorit has adopted this dog from Vanderpump. And it didn't go down very well. It bit the kids.
Oh, no.
And PK. So she gave it away, but the dog ended up in a shelter which euthanises.
Oh, no.
And instead of giving it back to Vanderpump.
Okay, and Vanderpump is a massive kind of dog lover and goes on marches to stop people being cruel to dogs and stuff, so this will go down like a cold cup of sick. Proceed.
Yeah, exactly. So now there's this rumour going around that Vanderpump has got Teddy involved. Because Teddy and Dorit don't get on.
Right. Who's Teddy? This is a new person.
Mellencamp.
Oh, right.
She was in last season. God, my God.
Let me Google the face. Right. And she's got her involved.
She's got her involved saying, oh, you need to bring up the dog and, you know, and that, you know, because I want to stir some, you know, poo up for Dorit. And but Teddy's gone, you know what, I'm not doing it. I'm not getting involved in everything.
Wow.
And Lisa's denying it. And now it's all radar online. And so Carl has said, oh, I don't believe you. I think you're selling stories. And basically Ken and Lisa threw her out of the house the other night.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, yeah. Yeah, I love Lisa Vanderpump.
I do too, and I love the relationship she's got with Ken.
Yeah.
He's adorable.
Yeah. Oh, I love Ken. I think he's great.
He's great, and he'll put up with the crap for a certain amount of time before he gets quite British about things. That's right. That's enough.
Exactly, yeah.
Off you go.
Yeah, it was all very all very British. Lisa just throwing her out and. You know, and it was all. So get that app because they're on there, and everything is on there, and it's only quite cheap.
Well,
so.
I love them, but $3.99 is a lot for. I mean, essentially, crap.
It is crap, but it's funny.
It is. I do love that show.
It's the only girly thing that I actually do. I don't really watch girly things or anything like that.
I got into Drag Race. I think you could get quite a lot out of Drag Race, Sally.
Drag Race.
RuPaul's Drag Race. Because apart from anything else, the makeup is amazing. You can sit there having just done your makeup, right? And you watch those guys do it and you think, I need to put a bit more mascara on.
Yeah. I'll get some tips. There are some really great drag YouTube videos on how to put makeup on, and it's brilliant.
And in fact, me and the girls have been watching this new thing on BBC Three. Again, it's crap, but it's fun. It's called Glow Up, and it's makeup artists competing. But it's not. Right. But it's not just like sort of standard makeup. They do the sort of face paint illusions and all that kind of stuff too. So.
Oh wow! I'll give that a go.
And that won't cost you $3.99.
No, it won't. Well, there are other options to watch it online, but
I shall pursue them. But of course, go down the legal route always.
Yeah, always go down the legal route. But yeah, it's all kicking off on Housewives.
My God, I love that show so much.
Looking forward to the reunions.
Oh my, and they're brilliant as well. And his face, is it Andy?
Andy, yeah.
He's brilliant. Thanks, Sally. That was a lovely little rampage that no one else is going to get, but I appreciated it. Take care. Good night, Sally.
No,
bye. Quick word with Jerry. Hello, Jerry.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Rough again today.
Oh, blimey, Jerry.
Timmy Fiver, 3 hours going from the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
And it probably lasted 2 minutes.
Oh, blimey.
I had to get transport back and had to wait 3 hours.
Oh, man. That's no
So I
good.
had a rough day. I feel like I've been in the ring with Mike Tyson.
Be funny if it wasn't so annoying, wouldn't it, Jerry?
It's really frustrating.
I bet.
Because it's like someone's holding you back with a piece of rope.
No.
I move.
I'm really sorry, Jerry. Listen, you phoned me and I've got like a minute to go, so I'm going to have to say goodnight to you, but...
I've been trying to come round all night.
Oh, bless you.
And
Well,
I'll give you...
look after yourself, and maybe we speak tomorrow a bit earlier, because I do want to know what's going on with you.
Yeah, I'm bad freezing.
All right.
Say hello to Paul again, no win, no fee.
I will do, he's coming through now. No win, no fee. Jerry saying hello.
Hello, Catch the bus. Catch the bus.
Pack the bus, he says. Catch the bus.
Hello, Jerry. Good evening. Good morning. Whatever time of the day it is.
He's having a bit of a bad freeze at the moment, aren't you, Jerry?
Oh, are you?
Yeah, but watch that Jack the Ripper documentary. It's very good.
Oh, you watched Jack the Ripper. I've recorded it, so don't tell me what happens.
We had the professor from that programme on this morning, Jerry, on the show. He's a great chap, Professor David Wilson. Fascinating. I saw the first 10 minutes. He looked fascinating.
I listened to your programme last night.
Good. Well, keep listening, because it's coming up next. Jerry, we'll speak tomorrow.
Yeah, take care.
Good night.
Bye, Jerry.
Bye, Jerry.
Bye-bye.
Bless him. What have you got coming up, mister?
Well, it's a big anniversary for me. It's part of my childhood, part of my obsession. It's the 80th birthday of Batman this week.
Oh!
All kinds of things have been announced to do with it. The Joker movie was heavily trailed yesterday, so we're going to play a bit of that with Joaquin Phoenix as the latest Joker. And the first comic book was the front cover date was May 1939, Detective Comic number 27. In fact, it came out first week in April. So we're looking back at 80 years of Batman, some great clips on it, and, you know, if people have got anything they want to chip in, who their favourite Batman was, for example, I'd start a list for once.
Who's your Catwoman?
Michelle Pfeiffer.
Really?
I quite like Julie Newmar.
Julie Newmar all the way.
And you know, Eartha Kitt played with the TV series as well.
I
which is
found her
pretty damn good.
terrifying.
Halle Berry, not so much. But no, Michelle Pfeiffer, that was such a... the first Tim Burton Batman, I think, is my favourite, better than Christian Bale, with Jack Nicholson as the Joker, is just incredible.
I've only seen those. I've not seen the new ones.
They're not bad, the new ones, but they kind of rely on you knowing a bit about the reinvention comic books of Ra's al Ghul and stuff. Ben Affleck was a bit of a disaster, God bless him, and said it himself, so he's hung up his bat cape and the cow's gone. But the new Joker film's out in October, so it's basically all things Batman on the show this morning, and also, really disturbing story, but one from the past. They've just worked out who the last civilian casualty was in the UK in the Second World War.
Wow.
Now, the Germans were still attempting to bomb us. It happened in Hull. It was March the 17th, 1945, and it's a woman who died shielding her twin sons.
Oh, gosh.
From a strafing attack. It's an amazing, heartbreaking, but amazing story. We've got the historian who's uncovered that on the programme a little later on.
I'll be listening on the way home. Thank you, Paul. Ross is coming up next. Thanks for your company tonight. I shall see you same time tomorrow, 10 till 1. Until then, bye-bye.
Talk Radio.
Join the Talk Nation.
Pick up your phone and talk radio.
We'll get you talking.